I actually agree with Joe Manchin's position on when it comes to the filibuster. I don't think the filibuster itself is inherently bad. I think that the minority, like, because Democrats, well, we barely have power now, and they're not always going to have power. And I feel like there does need to be a position for a minority party to be able to make to push back against policy. But I do agree with Manchin of going back to a full-on talking filibuster. For if you really want to, fight something, go stand on stage for 17 hours and then go explain that to your constituents why, more than just having to say something. But we can go on from that into the open.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mute myself. Sorry, someone, I can hear them clicking like a lot. Someone's clicking a lot. Who's doing the clicking? Let's go to Jay Cook. Jay Cook, how are you?
Um, yeah, I actually agree a lot with Bam's points. I don't think though I disagree on two. So I do think it is Biden's shortcomings that we are where we are now. He promised a lot of things, and I understand as a president, yeah, you may not get everything, but the Voting Rights Act was something that he was pushing very hard, and the fact that it didn't pass, I think, just is a testament to how disappointing the rest of this presidency is going to be, frankly. Um, I, I, I will say that it's not a victory lap, as you said. I don't know if that was your open prime, but I think we all kind of lose in this scenario, not having um, this pass. Uh, I
All right, who's clicking? Someone's
yeah,
like
someone's
clicking. I
kind of
don't know who's doing the clicking. Please knock it off the clicking. I can't tell who it is, but just click. Go ahead, Jay.
thanks. Yeah, I don't know that leftists would have been able to do any better, but I do agree that the filibuster should stay as is.
You're a little
Oh,
quiet,
oh,
quiet, Jay. Too. That's another thing. Your mic. I don't know. It's
okay.
slow, quiet.
I'll turn it up.
There we go. Much better. All right. Thanks so much. We'll go to our friend Joe Lewis.
Yeah, I think that it appears to be at least that the filibuster is kind of like waning over time. So it's like it always seems to be that every couple of years when one party thinks that it's not favorable to them, they just kind of like readjust the rules for it and stuff like that when they have positions to do so. Personally, I think they should probably just do away with it, and maybe there's a couple of other models that we could probably talk about. But generally speaking, when it comes to voting specifically, like the thing that I'm most concerned about is just increasing people's access to vote. And we talked about it with IDs, but something a little bit broader to that is that I think adding universal identification for individuals is going to really help with some problems that we see with things like identification with law enforcement, um, just certifications and different type of restrictions that might exist on a person. So I think on top of the expansion of IDs generally to every American for free, there should probably be some type of step-by-step process. So, like for example, if Be More or myself were to get checked by law enforcement, for example, it would show that we probably have like a purchaser's license and the ability, like maybe for him, he probably has like concealed carry, or for me, like I'll have like restrictions for eyesight because I wear glasses. And I think that's probably something that people generally agree with. And then you can like upgrade to different points. But at the base level of this, for me, you should be able to use your ID just to be a general identification that allows you to just navigate as an American in society. We can probably get into more of the specifics of that, but I think that's something that Democrats and Republicans could probably be on the side of. Republicans are probably making it cost some money, although albeit I think they are just be free, but we can probably get into that.
Thanks so much, Pyro.
Yeah, I feel like most people here, with the exception of a few, have been really wishy-washy on just outright stating this is a failure of Biden. I mean, like,
Thank you.
if someone promises me the fucking sun, it doesn't matter if they can or can't deliver. You promised me that, buddy. No, you don't fucking deliver. You don't deliver. I don't want to hear your belly aching excuses. At the end of the day, like, We got to the Senate. We knew the Republicans are gonna fucking strong arm us. What did we expect? Did we expect them to be like, yeah, let's do this? No, we didn't. So like that was the expected part. Like the part that always gets me in these cases when it comes down to fucking Democrats specifically and Biden right now is why is it that when the Democrats are in power and they get something to the Senate, oh, there's always one or two Democrats that magically flip, and they always hold shit up because of procedural, respectable reasons. No, like this is a Biden failure. This is indicative of him. He doesn't have control of his party right now. Like I don't know what to fucking tell y'all. This is a president who doesn't have control of his party. His own Senate leaders aren't listening to him. We got Mitch McConnell praising this dude. I'm sorry, like I can't like look that in the eye and say, nah, it's not Biden's fault. We have a problem with the filibuster and shit. I'm not necessarily sure I want the Democrats to have the filibuster or like anyone to have the filibuster at this point, but like we'll get into that on the panel. Like I think a lot of the things that were in the bills that the Democrats were passing were good things. Like I would like to have people being able to vote just using their ID. And I would like to have it be affordable to everyone, like free, possibly. But like, yeah, it's the fucking Democrats' fault this shit ain't get passed. Y'all are in power. There's no fucking excuse. Y'all can't be in power and simultaneously not have power at the same time. We're not stupid.
Be more.
This is all Biden's fault. It's Democrats' fault in general. Like he's a soft ass president. Why do I need to be soft on him also? Look, he needs to get a little sign, put it on his desk. The buck stops here, similar to how President Truman did it and fucking owned this shit. Democrats repeatedly draft pipe dream bills with no consideration from Republicans and not acknowledging the fact that they do have power. The fact that they hold a large percentage of the Senate and a percentage of the House shows they do have power. You need to take that into consideration when you make bills. Like as soon as somebody brings up voter ID laws, everybody gets mad. Well, what about we do have some type of voter ID law? And in the process of having voter ID laws, we also improve and increase accessibility to DMVs, voter registration. And why don't we open up more options when it comes to IDing individuals? Does it have to just be a card? Why not do biometrics? Brazil does it. It works. Like, I'm not saying that we need to switch to that full on. I'm just saying that we can have extra options, additional options. So if you're not comfortable doing something, then don't do it. It's that easy. But take a look at marijuana legalization, right? The Cannabis Caucus brought up the Congressional Cannabis Caucus brought up their bill. Then there was two Republican marijuana bills. They got shot down in the House. These are clean bills to legalize weed. They didn't have the equity pieces. They didn't have all the gimmies to the black community I would love to see. They didn't have exoneration, clemency, and all those things for individuals who are currently in jail. But guess what? It's still a step in the right direction. But guess what Democrats do? Democrats just say no. Don't fall for it. There are ways to achieve compromise, and Democrats are not giving it a shot. And then we're gonna have to blame it on just two Democratic senators? You got to be kidding me. No, this is on Biden.
I slightly disagree. Oh man, be more. We'll have to fight later on. Let's go to our brand new individual who is here. You can introduce yourself, and then you can also give your opening to all this. So Eli, please let the world know about yourself.
Yes, can everyone hear me? Am I?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Nailai Monti. I am super stoked to be here. I handle progressive politics. I got my start on TikTok, sadly, where I have about a following of 100,000, and I'm slowly trying to move away from that app and its toxicity over to better platforms such as YouTube and maybe even Twitch. It's just a little hard to try to move over because whenever I make a video explaining to people that I want to leave, for some odd reason, TikTok is like, no, you have to stay here. And as a matter of fact, nobody's going to see your video now. It's only going to get 400 views. So I'm kind of stuck there. Anyways, so my political affiliations, some may say, a lot of Republicans say that I am a liberal with a decent head on his shoulders. A lot of other leftists will say, which is what I like to affiliate myself, what I like to call myself. A lot of other leftists would say that I am far left, which is what I would like to say that I am. My take with Biden and the Democratic Party and with our government as a whole is that it all works together. This might seem like a take that not too many people agree with, but I do believe that both the Democrats and the Republicans are they're just two wings of the same evil bird. And I believe I said this last night on stream, Prime, that these parties really do work together to suit their own bottom dollar. So we're not going to get good voting legislation from the Democrats or the Republicans. It's not designed that way. The system is not designed that way. It's not designed for any one of you to have a voice or to have choice. It's designed to give you the illusion that you have a voice, the illusion that you have choice. Sorry, but as long as something like the Electoral College exists, you don't have a voice. It really doesn't matter all that much, okay? I know it's a hot take that some people don't like to hear, but it's true. The reason why Democrats are not going to enact fair voting legislation, because in my opinion, voting day, when we vote for presidents and what have you, should be a national holiday. It should everyone no one should be working should be working that day. It should be like another Christmas, okay? But the reason why they don't do these things, the reason why they don't implement these things is because the Democrats know that they will also lose their seats. The Democrats and Republicans both will lose their seats. Why? Because if we had our way, we would be putting in people who would make Bernie seem like a Republican, or at least that's what I and a lot of my constituents, that's what we tend to say and what we tend to talk about. And that's why the Democrats are also not going to push forth any sort of reasonable, good, or whatever you want to call it, voting legislation that gives power to the people, because they don't want us to have any power. That's why Joe Biden is sitting here bending over backwards to try to get approval and shake hands with the Republicans, even though the Republicans, every chance they get, will shit on and steamroll the rest of us and just keep walking and not care. It is designed that way. The Democrats will just tell the masses what they want to hear, so they get like a general pool of votes, and so that they can beat the Republicans out. But at the end of the day, they all, Manchin, Sinema, all these people, they suit their bottom dollar. That's it. You're looking for the voter legislation in the wrong spot. Our system is in dire need of a massive overhaul. Sorry.
Sure. No problem. No, it's just intro. That's it. But thank you so much. And we're done. Ready to open panel. Go ahead.
You know what? You're right. This system needs an intense overhaul, and it's something that Democrats, I can say, have been saying for years. But you know what's funny? You know what the real interesting part is? When they get their presidents and they get their controls of the House and the Senate. Oh, howdy, looky here! They don't do it. They magically don't have the power now.
Right.
Like
It's
I
the
don't
ratchet
like.
effect.
Do you not think the 50-50, like, do we, I don't know, like, we can say claim the Democrats have power, which is obviously true, which is why we got major pieces of legislation through. But the Democrats aren't in a position where they can just do whatever they want. Like, who gives a, like, we are in the slimmest possible margins in the Senate. Like, if you want bigger, more dramatic things done, you need more seats. You need to have like room for error. You're like, Biden can't control 50 people who know that if any of them disagree with him, like how do you control them? They the leverage is in their hands.
You do the Trump method, right? These people disagree with you, and then you go out there and you say, "Listen, I, as the president, want to get shit done."
You know,
But
Trump
it's
didn't
your
get anything done.
congressman. Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, you go out there and you fucking blame the congressmen themselves. You go out there, you just be like, "Yo, it's not me.
Yes.
It's these
Trump got things
motherfuckers,"
done,
because
it was just they were
he
wrong
has the
things.
bully pulpit.
What
That's
did
the
Trump
thing.
get done? Even negatively, there's no wall.
I mean, he
There
passed.
isn't-
I mean, at least he cut taxes for like the rich and the powerful.
That's not
Like,
legislation though. Like every president controls some level of tax code. That's not.
It
That's
is
like,
legislation.
it's
But you don't-
still-
It did pass legislation.
That's executive,
I
is
mean,
what he's saying.
yeah, like Trump has done things. They just weren't anything good for like anybody that was not one of his buddies. I mean, didn't he also pardon like a shit ton of criminals? Like,
Presidents
Trump
control
has done things.
pardons.
They're just bad.
These are executive things. I'm saying, what has he done
Pardoning
through Congress?
criminals?
Wait, first off, I don't want to downplay the executive, right? Because right
Yeah.
now, Biden
Right,
can
like-
legit at least forgive all student loan debt,
Exactly,
federal
but he
student loan
won't.
debt,
Exactly, yeah.
interest rates. He can at least keep it indefinitely zero, indefinitely deferred, maybe even forgive it. Let's say he can't
And
do it,
definitely
right?
deferred. Let's
How-
go.
Why not? Right? He's
I like
already
that.
done. He's already demonstrated he can do it for over a year. Why not 5? So now the counter argument people want to provide is, oh, it's going to get struck down. It's not going to work like that. Then let the courts decide. That's one of the talking points. One of the points the Democrats harp on, right? Is that, oh, we need Supreme Court reform. We need court reform, right? So go ahead and demonstrate that we need court reform. Go ahead and test your powers in the executive and give people what they want. People want to see marijuana rescheduled. People want to see student loan forgiveness. Do that through the executive. And if we come to find out for some strange reason it's not constitutional, determined by the courts that this is not the way it works, let the courts make that decision. Now Biden gets the beauty of sitting there and saying, I did my part. I signed the documents. I drafted up what I needed to do. I put my signature on it. I passed it on. The court shot it down. Guys, look, we need court reform. Look, I tried to give y'all what y'all want, but instead,
Biden's not that type of president.
No, yeah, because he's a bitch. That's
no,
what
not
thank you.
That's
the point.
He doesn't believe in the power of the executive, like he said.
Because he's a bitch.
No, he's used the executive for 101 other things.
A great president isn't one that just does things through executive. Like there is like a merit to saying that. Like
I'm not saying a great president is
a properly functioning system.
I'm not trying to become a dictator. No one is saying a great president is one who just like uses their executive power willy nilly. But a good president is one who at least recognizes they do have some executive power.
But he's done more executive orders than the last 4 presidents combined.
Exactly. That's exactly why you can't say that Biden's not okay with doing things to the executive.
But I'm saying
same thing he did. What did he do with transgender individuals in the military? He did something via executive order. When it came to the housing moratorium, when it came to student loan deferments, he did that through the executive. Biden has done plenty through the executive. He could do plenty more. If Congress doesn't want to act, he has a tool in his disposal. And if it ends up backfiring, it's only going to backfire because the courts strike it down. And if that occurs, he's able to use that as a demonstration of why we need court reform. And that's been one of his talking points. Biden's weak.
I don't know. I just think I think like that's a really strange this is getting further off from topic, but I'll just say the last thing. I think it's a really strange expectation of like just do something we know not going to work through a power you already claim you don't believe in, and instead of fixing the actual system itself, which is our Congress, by trying to pass actual legislation through our House and Congress the way the country is designed. I think that's weird. Yeah, but bringing it back further to what back closer to the discussion, because I think Eli, who came on, which it was a good opening, but it kind of like brought in a lot of other things that probably went to our head. I believe that even more so than like Biden's, more so than dealing with Biden failings, like. I did want voter rights change, but that comes, like I said, I think that comes from getting the votes. Like I definitely don't think you can change the way elections work. With executive orders. That sounds super problematic.
No, I think everything I'm saying is right on subject, especially within Joe Biden has completely failed to produce any significant changes, and getting into that and what could he do? I think this is right on subject.
There's no significant changes.
Oh no, he could do significant changes.
No, I'm saying he hasn't done any significant changes. Obviously, in comparison to what?
First off, the whole point is to push for more, right? But bam, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't support getting rid of the filibuster. That's going to make some Dems and some lefties kind of pissed off. It is extremely convenient to want to get rid of the filibuster now, but as soon as Republicans take over control, you're going to want to utilize it left and right. And once you start seeing rights for black people, rights for the LGBTQAI plus, and so on getting restricted left and right, because Democrats don't have any type of power to stop the roll of this legislation, y'all going to wish I didn't get rid of the filibuster. What we need to do is work with Republicans on certain key legislation and just honestly come to terms with the fact that our system's supposed to move slow. Like voter ID laws, Republicans have been nagging about it for so long, and Democrats won't even entertain the idea. Won't even try to use that as a leverage piece, some form of negotiation. It's dumb. It's dumb. Like seriously, sit with them and try to figure something out.
I agree.
Like what I brought up earlier. Yes, Republicans have proposed marijuana legalization bills twice. And then and then the Congressional Cannabis Caucus did bring a bill up. It's only 4 of them. It's a very small committee. But 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, they had their proposal. Democrats didn't even take the time to even talk. Democrats didn't even know. Democrats just simply said no. It's like a little hissy fit. It's like, no, either we get everything or we get nothing. That's literally what Democrats have been telling us repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it's idiotic.
That's why I agree with Bam and B more. It's like when I was saying about the Republicans or the insecure girlfriend, I'm saying that America, we have a toxic relationship when it comes to politics, right? We're in a toxic relationship. So it's like, yeah, we should probably break up, but if we can't, there's no cessation, right? We have to stick together. And so what can we do when we just have to work things out? Sure, you're going to want something that I don't really like, but I can make it work, right?
Exactly.
So Bam is like, they want voter ID laws. Sure, let's do this voter ID. Let's give everybody a California or a state ID, and let's make that shit free. So now you're happy. Now we can work about something that really matters, like like free healthcare and stuff like that. It's like we gave you something now.
Whoa, slow
But
down.
like, why don't
That's
you
a
think?
really big ask. Don't jump
Yeah,
over
yeah.
to free healthcare.
Why do you?
Sure.
But like,
Sure.
why do
I
you
was
think?
I was just throwing out there. You can put X, like X, right? You're just
I
throwing out
got
there
you.
as
I
an
got
example.
you. Free
So
healthcare ain't coming anytime soon. Sorry.
Yeah. So the point is, it's like Democrats are so absolutist in their politics and so unwilling to compromise, even though when compromise helps their side a lot.
Wait. No, I would say that's the opposite. I would say the Democrats try to compromise a bit too much, and that's where they fall short with pushing forth and bringing about any sort of meaningful change. They keep trying to compromise with people that will trample over them in a heartbeat. That's what I think is the problem here. They
No.
they don't
You have to
give
deal with the power you have.
they don't and they have all of it right now.
No, we
So,
don't.
like,
No, they
If
don't.
they
or they have a
vote
sweeping
majority, maybe.
So like
Super majority where?
don't we own
It's
like
just wrong on so
we
many
have
levels.
we have the presidency, we have the House, and don't we have the Senate as well? Like,
The Senate's
I
tied.
shouldn't say we because I'm not a
Uh,
Democrat, but
Calling that a supermajority is like
Have-
saying
well, I
Halle
said
Berry
sweeping
had. Never
majority,
mind.
but sorry.
Sleeping. Okay, you said two. Okay, all right.
So
I
here-
kind of want to push back on you, Eli, with something that you mentioned because I'm kind of questioning your identity as a progressive based on something that you posited, but we can see where you're at. Why do you believe that a federal holiday for voting is a progressive policy, or even do you believe it to be a progressive policy,
I mean,
and why?
I think it would help us move forward. It could potentially help us move forward as a country, and because I think that would help us bring about an actual and like true democracy. Like, why I can't think of a reason why voting should not be a federal holiday, and because of the fact that like there are people who can't go vote because of the jobs that they work, because of the fact that they might work a very demanding job, or they might work two jobs. So everybody has a different sort of like living situation.
All right, AOC, I'm gonna
a different
stop
life.
you there. AOC, I'm gonna stop you there, AOC. So how do you make sure the private businesses observe your idea of a federal holiday for voting?
I mean, the same way we do it for like, I don't know. I guess like we do this for like Christmas and Thanksgiving and other holidays. Why can't we do it for voting?
Hey, hold
So
on,
some
hold
people
on,
still
hold
work
on.
those days.
I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people still work
those days.
Tyra worked that day.
I would say.
I
Yes.
work, bro. I work
would say
Thanksgiving
less people.
and Christmas.
I would say less people work those days than people do on.
But that's a
voting
cultural
day.
reason. That's a
Wait,
cultural
question.
reason.
Wait, so a question. So what is the different? What do you believe the difference is for Martin Luther King Day, which is a federal holiday, and
I
Christmas?
still worked.
I mean, yeah, I worked on Dr. Martin Luther King Day as well, but like we all can agree that that fewer people work on Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc. than on other days. Why can't we? Why can't
Yeah,
we
but
afford?
that's
Why can't
because-
we
I
do
think
that for
Joe's
voting?
But that's
point,
because there's
though-
federal workers. Like I didn't have. I'm a federal worker. I don't. Or I'm a.
That is
I'm
not that
government
work.
worker.
That's not the point. Joe's
Wait, so
point
like, so
is
the yeah, I can elaborate in it where it's like, yeah, how do I say this? I can agree, and maybe we can all agree here. Hold on. Sorry, I have like two things going on at once. We can agree that Halle Berry's pretty hot, but
Understatement.
we're all going to come to different reasons as to why Halle Berry is pretty hot, but there are some universal truths. And the universal truth
Is she hot?
between Christmas and Martin Luther King Day is that there is a culture that understands that there's other things that are prioritized within society that make it that we ought to have off for Christmas versus
Okay.
Martin Luther King Day.
Well,
We don't
maybe
really have a like social proclivity to be off on that. So I'll try this again.
so what
If-
you're saying is that we need to develop that same incentive, the same incentive that we have for, or the same cultural incentive that we have for those other days. We should develop that for Election Day.
Okay, AOC, let's try this again. So when we implement policies at the federal level, we understand, generally speaking, we're only going to affect federal workers. And even then, people at the private level, private businesses like Pyro, myself, Beemore, and others may not have off on those days. I haven't heard anything that would suggest that you would want to go far enough to make sure that businesses aren't open that day. So I'll ask this directly. Do you believe that the federal government should mandate private businesses to close exclusively on election day?
I would say those that are not necessarily, those that are not necessarily like essential to, the survival of like our society, like, don't close like, hospitals and stuff like that. Like,
Do you believe that grocery stores are essential?
well, yeah, I do believe that they are
Well,
essential. Okay, so maybe
fuck me.
maybe not close them, but how do I explain
Maybe
this?
not close them.
Reduced
but-
hours. You could offer
Yeah,
businesses
reduced hours.
incentives
That's
to
what I was gonna say. Yeah,
have their
reduced hours.
employees go and actually vote. Like, hey, give your employees this amount of time, and then give
Yeah,
them
so-
pay for it too. Stuff like that.
Yeah, so maybe it
How
doesn't maybe
do
maybe
you-
maybe we don't necessarily need to have it as a national holiday in that case, and I guess I will concede that point, because I will
Okay.
concede that point in favor of I don't know who said the previous one. That seems like that might be a better direction to go in.
So would you say the reality is that people might not have a guarantee to be off on a particular day, even federal or otherwise?
Well, here's an idea. What if we took that one election day, made it 2 election days? That's the best I got.
Oh my.
Oh
Whoa.
my! Or
You
maybe
just doubled your
or
problems.
maybe-
Whoa.
Oh
or
my
maybe
god,
we
you
could,
double
or maybe
dribble.
we could, right within that
Take a more
reality.
progressive approach.
Yeah, within that reality, right? We understand that people are off at different points in the year
I mean,
for
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
reason, so it's no guarantee of that. So maybe we should expand the ways that people vote that's more consistent with how Americans navigate in society. Is that something that you would agree with?
Yeah, you know
Voting
what?
on
You know what? You know what?
smartphones
You know what? Yeah,
every
yeah.
tourist.
You know what? Actually, thank you. That actually does make a lot more sense. Yes, yes.
Thank you. You are now one step better than AOC in my eyes. Great. All right, I'm done.
Progress.
I think it could be
But,
done
So
logistically.
Thanks, I guess.
I wanted
Like-
to. Wait, go ahead, Jay.
Because hear me out. Because hear me out. Like my frustration.
Joe, we done heard you out already.
All right,
Oh, no. I
yeah,
want
yeah,
to.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
I want to
No,
hear.
No, I
he
was
did-
just
he did do a
adding.
jab. He did do a jab, and I want to address it. Right?
No,
Like,
no,
something-
you don't want to need to address the jab.
I want to.
No,
I do wanna-
Joe,
I do
Joe,
wanna
Joe,
address
Joe,
it.
Joe. Finish your point, and then
it's
don't
a
worry, we
good
got plenty of
point,
time,
right?
everyone.
Like when we posit ideas, we got to be careful to not just like grandstand and that we can identify the problem. And something that you did in your opening was just that like you identified that the problem existed, but then when it came to things that you were also frustrated about, you posited the very things that frustrated other people. So I just want to make sure to address that. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine. We bounce ideas off each other. That we constructive talk is good. I'd rather have these kinds of talks than the talks that I am used to having.
Okay.
Oh, you say that like you came from Vietnam. It's just TikTok, bro.
Yeah. And what
Well,
is this?
you
I didn't get to
Hey,
address
listen,
it after
you'd
his
be surprised what
opening.
you find there.
I didn't get to address this during his opening, but you said like you were going from TikTok to a less toxic platform, and then you
Yeah.
made a
Jokes
switch.
on
Switch
you.
to
What?
Twitch.
Like,
No.
You
Opposite.
guys think?
maybe
Wait, hold
you
on,
should
hold on.
research the
Hold on.
platform. No,
I think it's funny that if I could go off on if I could bring up something that has happened recently, there have been 2 streamers that have been banned for saying what I guess is now the C slur, right? Like, I
you're
have
getting our
gotten
seconds.
what do you say?
You're getting our seconds, aren't you?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
I have had my streams on TikTok taken down for less. So yes, I would say that TikTok as a platform is a toxic platform if it's gonna take me down for defending my significant other when she was badmouthed by someone else on stream, but they took me down for that. Like,
Okay. So you mean
No one ever
censor.
sees the
You mean
first
censor.
shot. We know this. No one ever sees the person who shoots you. They just see you shooting them. We know
Yep,
this.
they always
yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
That's
That
it.
is true. There is
Fair enough.
some validity to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So-
So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so going back to the point of kind of meshing it back with voter ID laws. I see how now talking with Eli and Joe, you bringing up that point of not expanding, but working within the constraints of that we have, wouldn't it be better to propose from a Democrat standpoint, expansion of mail-in ballots than voter IDs?
That
If
wouldn't.
if right, if we're saying that not everyone, let's say we do make uh we do make it a national holiday, right? We do make voting a national holiday, and not everyone can do that, right? So why not, for the people who can't go to the polls that day or make it to the polls that day, why not give them the option, or why not expand mail-in ballots?
I
I
don't think
think
that's
do mail-in
palatable right
ballots
now.
require IDs? I'm pretty sure a
So
lot of states do. Like even if you're
No.
like
California
in
doesn't.
person doesn't have what you call it, like voter IDs. I heard a lot of states like have that extra step if they're gonna like mail you a ballot. They need to
no,
have
what
like
they do is they compare your signature on the ballot to one they have on record. I'm going to tell you right now, mail-in ballots are kind of poisoned right now due to Republicans found a way to ruin that shit for themselves.
This is true.
I don't. So I don't think that is going to be that palatable if we're speaking from in terms of compromise. I don't
it's not
think
gonna be a
mail-in ballots.
compromising term. If anything, it's
Yeah,
further to
I
the
don't.
left.
Yeah, the Republicans are already spewing, rhetoric. Mail-in ballots bad. Showing like pictures of like mailboxes full of them and like dumped out ballots on the floor and shit like that. I don't know if it's all real. I don't know.
But aren't those like aren't those cases mostly of like mail-in
Do you think
boxes,
Republicans care
like
about the
boxes that
facts?
aren't actually for ballots,
They
like
don't.
like
You're,
unofficial ballot
you're,
boxes, essentially?
Jay, you're making great sense, okay? But we're talking about Republicans right now,
Making great sense, and as a
okay?
Republican, that scares me.
Okay, I understand you, but like, but I think Pyro brought up a good point. It kind of got glossed over, but Biden does have control of the bully pulpit. Biden
Yeah.
could take a stand and
I mean-
slam these individuals. Yeah, Pyro, want to tell me more about what Biden can do when it comes
As
to
much as we hate Trump, he showed us exactly how the bully pulpit can be used, and like when a president feels like his party ain't disagreeing with him. He did the campaign in 24 fucking 7, and we all laughed at him, and we was like, you're crazy, you're crazy. But you know what? The states the states he went to and shit, they kind of held his beliefs. They kind of held out the strongest, and it's like they held out all of this time, and now we're surprised. He could use the bully pulpit to be like, yo, I want this. Senators here, bro, they're just not working with you, bro. I want the legal marijuana. I want to smoke the J with you. I want to get high with Biden, but hey, fucking Chuck Schumer's not doing it, or
Yeah.
DeSantis isn't. He could do this.
so-
Why
Not
doesn't
DeSantis.
he?
DeSantis is a
So-
Republican.
Not
Because
DeSantis,
He
sorry.
can mansion and cinema, but like
Cinema.
Biden needs to call some hits. Like
Trump
So-
and Biden are different fundamentally because one, a lot of people actually legitimately wanted Trump to be president. So when he goes ahead and he swings that big dick around, it's like, well, most of your voter base is my voter base now, buddy. So if you want to fall in line with that, you're going to have no choice. Whereas the Democrats are scattered. Biden doesn't have that power. He can't just
Doesn't matter.
swing my big dick around and you're not going to get this, that, and the third. It's not going to work.
He
Also,
could do it
much
on, he could
mileage
do it
that he
on
has
shit
to
he
do.
knows Americans are like overwhelmingly in favor of, like marijuana legalization. Bro, I want to legalize weed, but we got some people in power right now who just ain't doing that.
Well,
I'm sorry,
Biden's-
I'm the
Biden is
president, but I'm not a
actively against weed.
dictator.
So
I mean, he just doesn't agree with federal
Yeah, I was
legalization
gonna
of
say,
weed.
didn't he like wasn't the White House staff drug tested when he like first came in office or something like that?
people lost their jobs off of it.
Yeah.
Now, like I said,
No,
I
he
disagree
didn't-
with him
he-
on that
he
position,
didn't-
but he holds that position.
He didn't,
Yeah.
as far as if I remember correctly, he didn't drug test them, right? Biden came in with this idea that he was going to take a different stance on drugs, right? Specifically marijuana. And so I if I remember this correctly, he had like a questionnaire that he had the staff fill out about, and part of it was like their drug use. And for those who like answered truthfully that, oh yeah, smoke marijuana, you got to go. So
Fucked up.
Got him.
But,
I probably know these
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of dumb.
Didn't say Simon Says.
Let's be
But,
honest. Like you're a
start-
little.
So, Senpai, you're speaking on how Trump had the big meat and Biden has the little meat. I'm gonna tell everybody right now, if you got little meat, you still gotta slang it.
Thank you.
Biden still has to slang it.
It's
If you're
not.
working with that,
It's
if
not
you got
the size
that,
of the
if you got
Everyone is
drone.
that,
It's
gonna
the
laugh
motion
at
in the
you, bro.
ocean.
you got that 1 inch
That
little.
little meter wave,
Yo,
bro.
like Theodore Roosevelt once said, it's not
I don't
about how
care.
big your stick is, it's about how you sling that
I don't
shit.
care if you have meat or schmeat, you got to sling it. And I'm being dead ass right now. You got to sling that shit.
Yeah. So
He's gonna have the. What's going on? Like, are we just gonna go easy on a guy
so
because he has meat?
No, that's not the point. So
So-
what happens when you try to pull favors that you don't actually have?
We're not pulling favors.
I mean, when you're trying to get people to fall under or fall in line with you so that they can vote properly with what you're trying to put forward, and I'm going to say calling favors again because that's what I'm talking about when I say that. You have to have some actual like leverage. You know, you have to have something to actually bring to them that's going to be like, this is going to jeopardize your ability to get elected again. You want to be in this position. You want to have this position of power. You have to do this in order to keep your constituents happy because we see this is what the constituents want. This is how I'm going to do it. And you need to fall in line. Biden does not have that. He doesn't have that.
he doesn't.
No one
This is
has it on
crazy.
Joe Manchin.
Biden
Joe Manchin is
doesn't
Teflon.
know.
He doesn't care about national polling.
Biden.
In the state of West Virginia, Joe Manchin gets Republicans to vote for him. Like,
I will
what are you
say-
gonna do? Push him further right? Oh, cool, bro. Like,
Yeah, no. Sinema is who I want to focus on, right? Because Manchin, the easiest way to deal with Manchin is to literally chill out when it comes to climate change. Chill out when it comes to wanting to kill coal usage and coal mining. I get it. Environmentalists are gonna be mad about this, but guess what? There's 101 other bills I also want to get passed. I'm not gonna just cater to environmentalists when we have a lot of healthcare. Prime keeps
Well-
waving this. Guess what? I would rather give everybody damn healthcare than worry about one state mining coal. I think it's a little bigger picture here. And second,
Well, I
cinema
think-
in Arizona. This is a state that literally passed marijuana at a state level. Like, yeah, Biden can bully her. It's like something that's in your state we want at a national level. And someone like her not allowing us to make key reforms to have more power within the Senate, stopping us. Yes, Biden can tar and feather these politicians. So, you know,
but that still doesn't get you to 50 votes.
Here's where here's where I usually got to push back. Okay, one, there's a very lost mentality, right? Like the scarce mentality when it comes to the Senate, right? It's like, well, how do we like reform the seats that we already have, right? Rather than like how do we expand the seats that we've got, right? Like, why is it that Democrats only have 50 seats? Why not 60? Why don't we have
Makes
a
perfect
filibuster
sense.
majority, right? Like, we need to be expanding the boundaries, right? Like winning states, right? Not like trying to defend what we have. The Republicans are coming to take those seats, okay? So like that's we got to be going to different states and making our case. The best way to make your case, right? One is to have to be able to deliver something, right? And Joe Biden's going to be is going to deliver very little, right? But okay, whatever.
Oh, we agree.
No, sure, okay, no, but no, we don't completely agree.
No, you're
but,
saying okay.
Let me tell you.
I'll tell you why we agree in a minute.
Let me tell you why we disagree. But dealing with Joe Manchin now, dealing with Kristen Sinema now, right? Like, let's be honest. It isn't that Democrats are compromising, right? Isn't at least the majority of them? Isn't that they're compromising? Is that they're moving to the positions they actually want to be in, right? Yeah, the Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are the two that take the heat because they're public and they love attention, right? They love this negative attention that just keeps the cameras on them. They love the fact that Joe Biden brings them to the White House, right? To get on his knees and beg, please, can I accomplish something in my fucking presidency, right? They love it, but they're not the only ones, right? There are others who, if Joe Manchin and Sinema got in line, right? They would also stand up. Like Chris Coons in fucking Delaware, I believe, Delaware, New Jersey, one of those, right? Is a conservative Democrat. He ain't for any of this bullshit, right? He just likes keeping it quiet, right? There's a few. There's like a whole list of these individuals who would do literally the exact same thing, right? But they just don't want the heat. Beyond that, though, we are dealing with a Congress of liberals, right? And so many of them are fine because their donors like what's happening, right? They don't want that change. They don't want a shift from the status quo. And so, and Joe Biden works with those exact same donors. And so when we have a person like Joe Manchin, right, who is demanding the status quo, right, who just can't see eye to eye on these things. So he's trying so hard, right? You don't see Joe Biden doing what he needs to do. He doesn't go to his state, right, and let his constituency know. Here are all the things that these bills will provide for you, and not just the Voting Rights Act. In terms like the Build Back Better bill, right? The individual parts of that bill are extremely popular in West Virginia. In West Virginia. He could go there, right? He could have rallies. He could run ads and say, "Here's all the things that are providing you." But for some reason, Joe Manchin is not with these things. Like, do you want expanded childcare? I mean, we're trying to provide that with the Build Back Better bill. Maybe you should call your Senator Joe Manchin and ask why he doesn't need to support these things, right? He could actually do that. He never does that. He never does that. Kamala Harris did that one time, and he like freaked the fuck out. He never stopped crying about it, right? Because that actually is hitting him where it hurts, right? Actually going to the voters and explaining, here are the positive benefits of this legislation that we're putting forward, right? That Joe Manchin is stopping. The same thing can be done with Cinema, but to a lesser extent, because I don't think she actually gives a shit about running. She's actually, I think, a tougher case than Joe Manchin. And you can do that. You can use the bully pulpit, right? That's the ultimate power the president has, right? You could use that to literally fucking bully Joe Manchin into compliance, but it never fucking happens because I think
He wants to have compromise.
You're almost there. You're like,
The reality is you can only do
you're
it
so
once.
close to being right. You're so close to
Okay.
being right. It's
But,
painful.
okay,
It's
go
like,
ahead.
Seriously, what you need to do is drop some issues. That's all you got to do. Like,
No, it doesn't matter.
Listen,
He has dropped it.
Ted Cruz, Ted Cruz could have took an L to Beto if maybe gun control wasn't on the table. Manchin can be replaced with someone who's further on the left if they eased up on environmental efforts. You could do this. You can go state by state and figure out what's truly. Biden legit went to West Virginia to go scream at some union workers about gun control. That's not palatable to them. He's an idiot.
Real,
He's
the
a
Beto
fucking
example,
idiot.
the
Give up
Beto
some
example,
stupid issues and gain voters. It's that simple.
Beto example rings true with me because like it seems like he was doing real good until like
he
that one,
fucked up.
that one clip of him being
Yes,
like, "Oh
we're gonna
yeah,
take
I
your
would,
AR-15s."
I would take your guns," and then like his popularity in Texas just plummeted, and then we're left like, "Oh, well, why did he fail?" Yeah, some
remember
people in this
that.
country
Drop
really
some
care
issues,
about
Dems.
certain things, like
Drop
and even
some stupid issues.
My
like-
problem is that first of all, the environmental issue is not unpopular in West Virginia. West Virginians get it. West Virginians aren't completely dumb, thinking like, "Oh, the
I
coal mines are going to come back any second." And there are some people like within the general Republican Party, right? People talk about that like, "Oh yeah, Trump is going to bring back coal." These people aren't involved with like the coal industry. Like none of them are actually involved with that, right? They just like the idea of coal miners, right? And sticking it to environmentalists. But like within West Virginia, they like understand this. They understand that coal jobs are disappearing, and a lot of that has nothing to do with competition from natural gas and then actual clean energy, right? That coal companies have been using like automation to do this, or like mountaintop removal, right, which requires less people to actually do. They get this. They get that it's dying, right? A lot of them actually do want to transition. You have to present a plan for them to actually do so, right? And letting them know,
but
here's how we're going
that's
to do
the
that.
issue.
Right.
That's the key issue.
But whether Joe Biden has done that or not, I'm not quite sure. But the point
Exactly.
is that, like, but the point is that, like,
important.
but I want to just push back on the idea that West Virginia doesn't like environmental advancements, right? That these people are just so backwards that they don't get it. They actually do. They get the coal miners themselves do. Mm-hmm. They get that. They're looking for the opportunities to just present it to them, right? To present it as like a less an environmental issue, but like a jobs plan, right? This is how we put you back to work, right? Rather than,
This is when you advocate in the right order, right? And this is people kind of forget this. People want certain things without understanding that certain things need to come before it. Yeah, get this federal job program spinning. Get these viable alternatives spinning. Once people see that these systems are viable, right? That the only federal job program in America right now is just the damn military. We need definitely more than that, right? Shouldn't have to go overseas and do some shit in order to get a damn job. Once these systems work, maybe then they'll be willing to see an industry die, an industry that many communities depend on. But yeah, this is the reason why we need to drop environmental efforts in these key areas, at least, or these key markets, until we can demonstrate to them that we're going to have their back when these industries die. And Democrats have failed to do that.
How do you drop it in these areas? Like these questions are going to come up if you're talking about someone challenging them. These questions are going to come up. How do you feel about these things? And you can't backpedal later. Like, no, I don't give a f about environmental issues. And then when you get
Well,
in,
you don't
like,
say it like that.
Yeah, there's a great
I mean,
rhetorical ways to like politic your way
I
out
mean,
of
seriously,
tough
you could just be
questions.
honest, right? You can say things like, look, I understand that these systems, these fuel sources are destroying our environment, but unfortunately, people are dependent on them on their livelihood. We need to find a way for them to depend on something else for their livelihood. And once we can do that and demonstrate to them that they don't need to work these jobs anymore, then we can incentivize them to ditch these jobs and close down these industries. You can't do it any other way without
but
alienating and leaving people homeless.
the issue is like
Yeah,
I
that's a
actually
great
was
way.
looking in the polling about what Prime was saying that, and everything. I mean, I haven't seen anything that was like hard evidence, but everything I'm seeing points to them actually being against like things related to to climate change and like environmental issues. Like Manchin's polling actually like his approval rating actually rises the more he like pushes back against Biden on a lot of these things.
Yeah,
So
because Democrats haven't demonstrated that they're going to have anybody's back when the time comes, right? The way these people see it, the way they see it, regardless if this is reality, the way they see it is they're going to kill, they're going to make these industries harder to operate. These industries are going to disappear, the jobs will disappear, and they're going to be left with nothing. You need to show them viable alternatives first and then take something away. You know what I mean? It's just weird. Like a kid, you just take a toy from a kid and then give them another one later on. Maybe you will later. No, baby's crying in the meantime. Like, no,
the thing is, because
switch it
that's
out with a
it's
healthier
because
toy
private industry
immediately.
controls these things. The thing is, there is no real answer. We don't know. We don't know
Um,
how to replace them. Like
I'm not saying it's
you think that
easy.
Detroit would have failed if they knew how to replace it. Sometimes you just take jobs and you don't know what to put there, and you hope like the private industry ends up solving for these things. But like America survives. Well, these portions of America have survived
I
so
don't know
long are
about
these
that.
like
Yeah.
blue collar working type of places that I don't think we know necessarily what it looks like to replace all of those
I
jobs.
don't care.
We
I don't
can't.
care. If we don't know what it looks like, then we better fucking figure out how it looks like. And if we
No,
don't figure
honey.
out how it looks
Why,
like, then
why,
what the
why
fuck
are
are we
you
doing?
bringing up fucking Detroit, right? Detroit didn't fail because there was a new technology, right? Like a car 2.0 that happened, and well, Detroit just couldn't keep up, right? Like
No, I'm
Detroit
saying
was
they
stuck,
moved.
just stuck on car 1.0, right? No, those jobs literally moved out, right, out of the
Yes,
country, right? We allowed that to happen rather than having a
it's affordable
protectionist
to do so.
stance on our own industries, right? We encouraged those jobs to actually move out to cheaper places, right? To Mexico, right? Like that actually happened. That's not the same thing. I don't
But
know
I'm
why
saying
you
we
just
should
say that.
have. That was the right decision. Like it like just you we
Yeah,
can't just play
outsourcing
things.
is not really a country's problem. Like we can't force private companies to like stay at
But
home.
No.
it's
But
not
you
even
can
just a
Well,
do
we
private company
no.
can
thing.
with
No, I'm saying it's
decreasing
bigger than that.
tariffs or
It's not
taxes.
just about it's you have to think bigger than the workers at the company. If moving a car company to another country makes that car like $5,000-$10,000, like, well, not $10,000, but like $5,000 cheaper to produce, like that's going to that difference in cost is going to go on to like millions of Americans who benefit from being able to
No.
afford cars.
Will it, or
Yes.
will that be pocketed? Right?
No, it's not all
Was
pocketed.
it
We
that
see this. We
cars got
notice it.
actually cheaper?
Yes,
Or
that's what
oh,
happened. That's
no.
how.
Wait,
That's exactly what
is that
happened.
actually what happened?
Yes.
Oh
Bam
my
is.
So
I
there
do think
are.
there is something. There is some.
It's hard. It's
There is
hard for
some
Americans
something
to
correct
notice
with what
that
Bam is
difference, but
saying
it's
though.
real.
Yeah, like it's called what? It's not called up badging. That's something different. But car companies do that all the time. Like you'll have the same model, the exact same model car, but with a different company's badge on it, and then there will be a price difference between those two models, even though they're literally
That doesn't
the
happen
exact
often
same
at
thing.
all.
Sound like
But I'm saying
It
we're trying to
actually
protect
does.
5,000 workers for
Not
like
really.
but
That's
500,000 Americans.
no.
been
The
on
only
that.
examples would be like the FRS BRZ, and then maybe like the Z5, and then the Supra.
It's been-
But
it's been
overall,
going
the
on.
prices are really similar. There's not like it's a complete toy. No, there tends to be some fundamental differences in between these vehicles when they do this.
I'm not talking about in that regard. I'm saying that whenever these they don't just pocket all of these prices. It actually does because it's usually a market move. They can afford to sell the car for a little bit cheaper and still increase their profit margins. And like I said, you end up benefiting the larger American body from doing so. Like you don't protect. You can't always protect jobs. Jobs aren't always the most beneficial thing for the country as a whole.
No, okay.
Like you don't
look,
protect 500
I
workers at the expense of
so okay.
500,000.
So how are you
like,
going to
You don't
explain
protect
that to someone in
a
Virginia,
voter.
though?
Exactly.
Yeah, like this is the problem. You got to explain that to someone in Virginia and then convince them to go with your bullshit plan where that's the reality and be like, okay, but you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your
Yeah,
reality. And
you keep
that's where
saying,
we're
yeah.
struggling with.
It does
You keep
suck. That's what I'm
saying-
saying. But you're saying
I know, but you
they
keep
should just
saying
have to
job.
solve
I'm
it.
saying voter. Like we're gonna have to take these people in consideration if we want them to fucking vote correctly. Like, so what's up?
But,
Like, if I'm Billy
we're not
Virginia,
we're not offering
convince
a
me of
real.
that.
We're not offering a real solution though. We're saying Biden.
Oh, you're right.
Biden's
Yeah.
failing by not knowing what to do, and I ask what does that solution
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like? And you like they need to figure it out. And I'm saying if, maybe there's not an answer. Maybe that's the hard part.
Yeah, the answer I provided in my spiel earlier was a federal jobs program outside of the
What
military.
jobs though?
So if this federal job program could just be, first off, getting people out and educated on fields that they actually want to be in, getting boosting, seriously, finding other things for these people to manufacture.
That's what I'm saying. What are the other things?
Trade schools. But the whole point is give people the opportunity to get retooled and then be reintroduced into the job market.
Worker retraining doesn't seem to work. That's something that we figured out. That
Don't
just
think
doesn't.
have we really given it a full blown shot when people are still going into serious debt in order to get retooled? I'm not sure we can say we have given it a full chance.
I'm pretty sure there's like tons of data out there pointing to that the concept of like worker retraining.
Also, some federal job programs we can do is seriously like similar to having a Space Force, Air Force. We can have bridge and road forces. Like we have teams of individuals.
just seems
to go out
like
and fix our
unnecessary.
infrastructure. We can.
Sounds like a-
infrastructure is unnecessary.
No, it's
we
not
can-
unnecessary, but there's only so much because
A
you
bridge
have to
force.
be in the state, in
so
the
much
area
of
that they live
America-
in.
No,
much
that's
of
just
America doesn't have
that's
fiber
literally
optic
just
internet.
not true, bro. Like if you want to talk about infrastructure, you look at roads before and after every single winter in like upstate New York, these upstate fucking areas. It's fucking disgusting. There is plenty of work for something like a national
Yeah, but-
But it's
infrastructure
not just
force
roads,
to go
it's
out
also
there.
public transportation.
I
Public
agree with that.
transportation is something
I thought
that
you
needs
meant, like, bridge
updating.
for, like, police for bridges.
They're doing that shit right now in the train station right outside my house. They've been working on the escalator for 6 fucking months. One escalator. Okay, yeah, there's definitely a need for something to address the needs of like the public when it comes to public infrastructure.
If
It's
we don't
definitely
address
something we need to.
if we don't address the needs of the working class, if we don't even try, like if every single proposal that's brought up is just shot down because it's not the ultimate solution, then we're not. Yeah, we're fucked. I get it, man. We're fucked.
I
But honestly, we're gonna have to take we're gonna have to go at this 101 ways, right?
Yeah,
One
I
G?
don't think a federal jobs program is.
Oh, I
It's,
mean,
it's not the worst idea, right? I like the direction.
No,
you're heading.
it's not that it's the worst. It's an amazing idea.
I don't think it's that amazing.
It's not. It's not going to be the all end be all. It's not going to be the end of it all. Like we're going to have to do more things than this. But we
Yeah,
can start
like-
again. The only way to really get employed within the government, like as somebody who doesn't have any credential whatsoever, is to join the military. Like that's not good enough. We should find a way to improve to fix this. Shouldn't have to go fight wars to get your college paid.
I don't
Federal jobs
disagree
program.
with that,
True.
but I don't think we can I think there's a reason and I have no idea how many people work in these industries in these state in West Virginia in particular, but I'm gonna speak to my southern little town background. Like where I grew up, there's one factory. It's still there. Everyone in the town works there. It's a factory town. It's a rare thing to see in America. But it's a dying thing in America. But this still exists in the little town that I'm from. And I think there may be like 20,000 workers related to this plant. Those 20,000 workers can't all go work on roads and bridges in like my local area. There's just not that many there's not enough jobs that could be created by the federal government to fill in those people. Like this is a reality. Even if you create these programs, if the private sector doesn't solve for this, my town, the town I'm from, would die without the factory that currently exists there. You can't federally jobs guarantee your way out of that.
Yeah, you're not gonna federal jobs anything out of way of anything, bro. It's literally one aspect. It's just one tiered approach. Like, come on.
Here's an example of like a federal jobs program, creating jobs and creating the industry, right? Like electric cars. If the federal government decides, hey, we're going to buy electric cars, we're going to switch our entire fleet of cars for the federal government to electric. We are providing those jobs. We are investing in this industry, and there's someone, right, in the private sector who's going to fill that role, right? The government doesn't have to even tell them to do so, right? Like these are contracts we're going to fill.
What the government?
Who's going to provide that, right? We are and to service those cars, right? Well, we need charging stations. Which one of you is going to provide that? There is money to be made, right? When the federal government simply invests, right? Or and that's indirect. You can also do direct investments.
Yes,
you can pick an industry, right? That you is beneficial for the future of the country, right? Like again, green energy, and you can put direct investments into companies. You can subsidize them, or you can give them loans, give them tax breaks, whatever you need, right? To stimulate that industry, right? And you can put it in strategic places, right? Like we'll because this is an area you live in Georgia, right? This is an area that's economically disadvantaged, right? We, as a federal government and state governments, want to make sure that this group is taken care of, right? So we'll give you extra benefits if you build your plant here, right? And if you promise to hire a certain number of local residents, right? Like we could do all of that. A federal jobs program can include all of that. Also, saying the government is actually directly creating doing an infrastructure or something, an infrastructure thing, and we're going to hire people ourselves, right? There's a whole suite of things that a federal jobs program could do, right?
The reason why I brought this up before, Prime, is because if we can do these things, like you said, we could demonstrate to people that when we do, I guess, and in a way, destroy an industry, we're going to have their back. We're going to have their back. Well, I honestly want to nationalize certain things. I want to go further in the deep end. Like when it comes to internet infrastructure, I just think
Fiber optic cable.
I think the government should seriously create a team similar to the Air Force, Space Force. I don't give a fuck what you call it. Call it Internet Force. I don't give a damn. And just literally go state by state, breaking ground and installing. Yeah, I don't give a damn what anything. I just want fiber optic internet everywhere, and that could be a federal program. And the beauty of it is, if it's on the federal's coffers, states don't have to worry about the costs, and then just fucking get the shit done. And it's jobs. But there's 101 things we can do. This is just one small example of it. But I mean, we got to start somewhere. We got to show American people that as we push to a greener world, we're gonna have their back when it comes to jobs. In the long term, with automation, I don't think. A lot of people are just simply not gonna need jobs.
Out of curiosity,
I was
gonna say UBI is a way better idea than federal.
Yeah.
Federal jobs.
Do you want to know? First off, that's a extreme pipe dream. That's far down the line.
It's extreme.
It's going to be when you propose.
Let me tell you why. Because
go ahead and sell it to a Republican. How we're just going to give out thousands of dollars to every American each and every month.
I could. That's easy. Like,
funny.
No, I can't. I really do think.
I think we're eventually going to need to switch to somewhat of a system like UBI down.
Yeah, we got to get there though.
When we you know, if we continue to develop like automation technology and what have you, because then we're gonna eventually, and this is what has been happening throughout history, as we continue to develop more and more technology and more scientific findings, other jobs just become obsolete, and we just don't need them anymore because now we have a machine that does that. So eventually, as we continue to progress,
we always create new jobs.
We could develop new jobs, but are we going to develop enough new jobs to
politically
counterbalance the jobs that we're losing to things like automation?
You don't do UBI on a national scale, like from the bottom down, like from the top down. Like obviously,
no, you can do it either way.
No, I mean it's possible. Anything's possible, obviously. But I'm talking about
it ain't happening now.
As of right now, I think the most effective way to do UBI is how women did the suffrage movement, right? Like state to state, And right now, I think we should do it from like city to city, right? Each city should have their own UBI, and then other cities be like, "Hey, look, their UBI works in that city. We should do it." And then one state would be like, have a bunch of cities doing UBI. It's like, "Hey, look, a lot of cities in this state have UBI. Why don't we just make the whole state do it?" And then from that state to state,
It doesn't work
it's
like that because what happens is everybody floods to that city. Property values, rental prices go through the damn roof. Everybody's flocking in trying to get a piece of this money.
And then
Outside communities are hurt because outside communities are not doing well because
and then you can make
brain drained by these cities. Look,
and then
the
you
best
can
way to
make
go about something like
stipulations
this,
that you have to be
all you're doing
years.
is boosting
Like, you can
inequality
obviously-
because you have key
there's ways to
locations
protect-
getting
you can
all
make
this money
protections.
and other locations not getting the money.
You can
you're
make
advocating for
protections.
you're advocating for inequality right now. The best way
Bro,
to do
bro,
this
bro,
was to do
you're acting like
entire
you're acting
state
like
or
everybody
entire
can
federal
afford to
government.
move.
But
Not everybody
please.
can afford to move though.
No, but people who could,
You can afford to
that's
move.
even worse. That
But-
makes it even worse.
Listen. You're thinking like really grand UBI. I'm thinking let's start UBI small, like $1,000 a month, small, $500 a month, small.
Okay.
And then we grab right, and then who the fuck is gonna move to San Francisco to get $1,000 a month more? Like obviously not. That's
surprised.
You'll be surprised. It'll be only rich people. Only rich people going into these cities.
I'll tell you right now. Alaska does something similar to this. The only reason my ass ain't Alaska right now is because it is fucking literally halfway across the continent. I can't
Rich
afford that.
people
You're-
have
and
easily
it's
find ways
listen,
to get there.
fucking cold.
Nope, I could deal with that. The money was good with that.
I could deal with that.
I
Exactly.
live, I
would
live
say-
upstate New York. I can live with that. It's all the way across the continent.
You're just gonna have
I-
upper middle class and higher class people
Exactly,
flocking
they're-
to these cities, getting this
I would
money,
say-
while poor people are just getting priced
They
out
They
or
still have
stranded
to
in their other
find. They
cities.
still have to find a place, right? Like obviously it's gonna be capped, right?
So-
So we like, okay, shit. This city's capped. Yeah, we're gonna get 1,000. Yeah, we're gonna get
Why
500
don't you just cap
a month.
who can move in based on income?
Well,
Oh,
We
that's
could-
I
dude.
think
Now
we
we're
should
just getting
do-
crazy.
I don't
with
think
this
so
shit.
think
because
what
that
we should-
restricts
what we should
your
do-
constitutional freedom as your right to freely move.
Nah,
No
that's
one will
not
support
how it
these
works.
places. They
That's
will.
not how
This
the
will be
that's not how
be
the-
seen as the city for poor people. It will create an instant like stigmatization.
Listen, my point is this, right? Like you
Oh
don't
my.
restrict people via law to not move in. The market will already do that. It's like, oh shit, it's too
Oh, I
expensive
know it
to move
will.
in.
I know it will. That's my point. My
That's
point is
the-
the market will
exactly.
restrain.
So you don't move in and be like, hey, shit, I can't move in, so we should probably advocate for the UBI in our city. That's
One
the
of my-
point.
One of my
I feel
wildest
like
takes.
we're moving
Oh,
further
yeah.
away though from
Thank you.
the topic.
Yeah, the topic is fuck Biden, right?
Yeah.
I mean, still
not
fuck him.
necessarily, but in like this is not like UBI isn't something I think that could be implemented at a federal level
I agree.
anytime
And
soon.
I 100% agree.
I think.
Sorry,
I think we need
I
to.
don't want to do a UBI discussion. I kind of want to like
Thank
get
you.
back
Yeah.
to this.
So-
Yeah, Eli. Sorry.
Oh,
Jay,
no, go
Jay,
ahead,
and
go
then
ahead.
okay, Eli. Did you want to say something before?
I was gonna say, and some people might not like this idea, but I would say what we should do is we should invest in some of these, less fortunate areas, like not necessarily suburbs, but like more rural areas, and build them up a bit more, so that with more things than just like building a college out there, because then when you
How
just,
is
when
the
you-
president doing this?
Yeah, I would rather
Well,
I'm not-
invest
but that's
in
the thing.
shitting it
I
on
said-
Biden.
I'm saying that's something I was just offering. We were talking about moving, and the conversation was going everywhere. But
Yeah, exactly. And Prime tried to bring it all
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
So
we
that's
getting
why I
it. We getting this wild train
Thank
back
you,
on
Brandon.
track.
I was just
Yeah, like
offering-
let's go, Brandon.
I was
Yes.
just offering that one potential, that one idea that we should invest in more.
We need to invest
in underdeveloped
voting
rural neighborhoods if we want to
for
stop
new
people
names.
just moving all over the place.
See, the problem is I can't just simply open my wallet and invest. But you know who could? Joseph Biden.
Thank you.
He could
Bring
do.
it on
He
home.
could do this. Like he could open
Yeah,
up the
yeah, he
national
could,
wallet
but
and
I-
say some shit, right? The
Right,
problem is
yeah.
he doesn't.
Right? Yeah, I get that. I was just giving an idea. I get that. I get the whole like fuck Biden thing. I'm 100%.
They picking on you because you knew, bro. It's not. It's not. They is just looking to pick on you.
I'm cool. It's cool. I'm enjoying
who you
myself
for?
right now.
I do
But,
want to address the other half of Prime's question regarding if
Thank you, Jay.
burners
Thank
if
you.
burners feel vindicated in like their prediction of the status quo, and then whether or not
What's a burner?
leftists-
Bernie
Bustier.
Bros.
Bernie
Bernie
Bros.
Bros.
Oh,
Yeah.
burner, bro.
Oh god.
Bernie or
Um,
Busters.
Okay.
Yeah.
or if if leftists would have done anything different in the situation, given the same situation.
What
I
do you
like
think?
this question because they
I think-
I was a
lost
burner.
too.
Hold
I was
on,
a
let me
burner,
a chance
bro.
to answer. She wants to. She brought it up. I want to hear.
This is a
her
good
position.
question. Wait,
Oh,
yeah.
I said this a little bit in my open. I don't think. I mean, yeah, you can feel vindicated, but you shouldn't like. This is not something to celebrate. Like I said, like no one is a winner here. And honestly, I'm as leftists are now currently in the leftists quote unquote that are in Congress now. I don't think that it would have had a different outcome.
So this
Yeah,
is my
no.
question to you, Jay. Can I celebrate next year?
Shut up. No, like I think this was a good question, and I'm glad you brought it back to this because it's like, what are y'all gonna celebrate? Y'all fucking lost to that. Y'all lost to that in
That's
the
what I'm
run up.
like.
True.
And also
And like,
impacted.
we can argue that like, oh, it was rigged, but like it's a part of the political processes, and y'all gotta know this shit before y'all run and expect this shit. They apparently fucking didn't. We put all our fucking money behind one dude, and then he lost twice. Like, progressive lost that shit, and then y'all want to celebrate that the nigga ain't doing shit now. Like,
Well,
I
y'all
think it's a
can, but
celebration.
It's-
I think that is moonwalking, you know what I mean, and just like this, like screaming, like "told you so," you know. And I think that's fair, right?
save y'all moonwalking for
I
the
don't even.
elections
Well,
when
I
y'all
don't think
putting
it's
up
supposed
new
to.
let me-
I feel like
candidates.
let
Biden has
Though.
been
Doing-
extremely
if
effective.
if the status quo is if Bernie and Buster said, "Look, you're voting for this idiot," it's gonna give you the status quo, and then the counter argument's like, "Nah, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be good," and then it happens to not be the case, and I think they have the right to say, "I told you so." It's not much of a celebration.
I
Like if
just feel
Yeah,
like
somebody's
but
the
right,
then
standard
somebody's
that he's
right.
being held to, the standard he's being held to is so insane. Like even Power, you brought it up at first. Like, okay, yeah, if you promise something, like, and you don't deliver, then like every president promises everything. Like, I feel like the standard
think the
shouldn't
fucking
be.
But
problem,
after
though.
the years of Trump that
That's-
we had, yes,
Uh-huh.
Biden
Yeah.
promised a course correction, and we are not getting that at
you
all.
can't
Thank
sit here.
you.
We've
Even-
had
I-
more
so
spending.
as a
Bruh.
I think this is the wrong way to go about it.
If I
What
can
I have to say,
interject.
no, real quick, I got to say this before we get too deep in the weeds. The whole point is the job of a progressive is to be continuously critical and
Thank
constantly
you.
striving for more and not settling for the
So-
bullshit we're receiving now.
But I'm saying,
So
even
when-
if,
so
but
when
if we got,
people like Bernie
Medicare
or
for all, it would be
Busters-
like we need double Medicare for all.
So,
like,
hey,
we
you
need
know what?
twice-
Yeah, who do you think?
it
Yeah, that's
feels
exactly.
useless.
Prime
I don't
knows.
know.
I've brought this point up on panels before to Prime. I'm like, you know what? Tell Republicans that all we want is marijuana legalization. We don't want to release everybody from jail. We just want weed
Yo,
legal, okay?
I'm
and then as
really-
soon as we legalize weed, the next day, I'm trying to get the motherfuckers out of jail. Yes.
I'm really
yes,
glad
give me
we
anything
don't
right
hold
now.
this mindset for any other type of advancement because we would have just stopped at like horse and buggy a
That's what
long
I'm
fucking
saying.
time ago.
But-
Like it was,
but-
we go off the horse, we got wheels. Let's go. What do we need to upgrade for? Like,
what do you
nah,
think-
motherfucker. I want more. I want better. America right now is not what I want to be living in. 50 fucking years from now,
But
when
that
I'm
doesn't-
old
but
and
these
dying.
two things don't have to be. These two things don't have to be exclusive. Like I want more, but I can at least acknowledge the framework of like, okay, what was reasonably expectable from what what from the position he was given, what has actually been accomplished, and I can say that yeah, Biden has done everything that could
See,
be
but
reasonably.
the problem is you doing that now. You're supposed to be doing that when you 80 years old. Like, you know what, Biden, he did promise me a lot of things, but he had these
Yes,
things.
do that shit
Right now,
later.
you doing that now. This is the historical argument we make
No.
for motherfuckers who are dead. Like, you're doing that now, and he's alive. His presidency's not finished, and he's already fucking up so
I just
hard.
can't lie to myself. I can't lie to myself and say that he should have did something that was like physically impossible. Like I can't waste my breath complaining about something that I know was like
Physically impossible.
physically
Some,
impossible.
some executive orders to get marijuana
Yes, because
rescheduled.
yes,
Physically impossible?
Some
I mean,
executives,
some
executive
Nothing matters
commercials,
than
some
legalizing
basement
marijuana
fire
right now.
chats, like some basement fire chats from the White House, like, yo, I want to legalize marijuana and forgive student loan debt. Goodbye. Like, y'all don't. That's physically impossible for the
But I
nigga.
wanted to
Like,
speak to
nah.
the second part of the question. Like the reality is like the reality of, first of all, B More is talking about compromise. If we had 50 leftists in the Senate, like we would have less done. Not from them agreeing, but them like disagreeing amongst themselves on the nuance of the nicheness. Like the further left you go, the more ideologue you become.
Then I'll tell you there's some shit leftist, and that's all there is to it. Because a good leftist, yes, I'm gonna be is gonna sit there and try to make any progress whatsoever, and once they achieve that progress, come back later for some more, and do that perpetually. That's what a good leftist would do. But now a shit leftist will literally say, "Give me everything, or I'm gonna throw a tantrum," and that's the Democrats we have now.
But that's really what Bernie the Buster was built on, was give me everything. Or
that is true as well.
Maybe, right? I'm not a Bernie
Every
Buster,
political
but
campaign should be built on.
But I will say that plenty of Bernie supporters, right, did vote for Biden when the time came. I didn't though, fuck them. But still.
So, I don't even remember what I was gonna say at this point.
Damn. Hey, you fight so hard to get in.
I was.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta
hold just let him talk. Just let him talk.
So many different things. I mean, hold on. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, it's what. I hate this. It's what Jay. If I can read that right.
Say Jay.
Okay, yeah. It's what Jay said earlier about making promises that you can't keep. And that's the thing that I think a lot of us are tired of with these politicians, is that they go, okay, what are the youngins really into nowadays? Oh, they're into, socialism and leftism. Well, I'm not into that. So what else are they into? Oh, they're into universal health care and education. I'll say I can forgive the student loans, but I know good and damn well that as soon as I get up there, I ain't forgiving shit. Like, that's exactly how all of these politicians run, especially on the Democrat side, every time. You look at whatever's
we want
popular.
Politicians to win.
Whatever. Say it one time.
I said we want politicians to win. Like,
right.
How do you feel about this? We don't want a president to say like, "Oh, no, that can't be done." You see the Senate? That's not even possible, bro. Come back. Like, that's not what you're supposed to say on a debate stage.
Well, that'd be pretty funny though.
Don't say that.
Once you win,
instead maybe change your argument to say something else. That's not necessarily that. Like, I'm just tired of people running on promises that they know good and damn well that they can't keep. Stop lying to me. Like, just stop. Like,
I get you. We all feel, yeah. They need to stop being some damn liars.
They just seem so unfeasible. Like,
it's not even the shit that's unfeasible, right? It's the shit that we know he could do. That's the thing that gets me. He tells us in the election, bro, I'm gonna give you $2,000 when he gets in office. Well, actually, the last guy who gave you money, like, it's the other guy. No, he promised like fucking legal marijuana. I'm still fucking waiting, motherfucker.
He never promised legal marijuana.
Yeah,
he's smoking right now, Pyro. Aren't you smoking right now?
He has a YouTube video speaking solo, saying that he believes nobody should go to jail for it, and people go to jail for it. So he promised.
But he just he didn't speak on legal marijuana, but he did say he wanted to help. Yeah, like he said he wanted to help decriminalize it and like help not make people go to jail and like be more said. He hasn't done that. So there's shit he could be doing that he's not doing, and we can ignore the high pie in the sky shit, like erasing all student debt and universal health care and like the future. We can do, but like the shit that he can do, like. Why? There's no fucking excuse. He is the executive. He has the bully pulpit. He has a certain level of executive power that even if he doesn't want to use, he, as the person who said, we need to get back on track as America, we need to build back better, should be able to recognize that sometimes you need to move outside your comfort zone and do shit for America. Sometimes you need to take that bully pulpit stick and whack some motherfuckers who won't step in line.
The problem is Biden and not even just Biden, but the entire Democratic, party does not fight hard enough. They'll propose something, and then the Republicans, and then Manchin and Sinema will go, no, and then they'll just go, okay, back to the drawing board. Like,
the Democrats can't fight it. Let someone else do it. Like,
I believe you more.
Thank you.
Like,
I'm not like I'm tired of putting my money.
This is such a defeatist ass approach.
There's 4 horses there's like 3 horses at the race, and we're looking at like the biggest 2. Like, I gotta bet on one of these 2, and one keeps losing, and you're like, bet on that one, y'all. Bet on this one, or you're fucking stupid. Like, I'm just like.
But they're the 2 up front. They're the 2 so far.
Okay, then go ahead. Kentucky Derby. Bet for the little horse. It wins sometimes.
Okay.
Bro, I live in New York. They gon' one of them gonna win. I can put my support behind someone else for a little bit.
So I take a little bit of a problem with the whole because while I did say that they're both wings of the same evil bird, on one hand, one wing is a little bit better for us as comparison to the other. I said a little bit. The problem is with the whole horse analogy is that you've got a pack of horses in the back, yes, that you could be betting on. But the problem is these other horses are like laps ahead. These other two horses up here are laps ahead. These horses cannot get catch up with these other horses anytime soon unless you just start the entire race over.
Sometimes
I
you
think
just gotta-
what Prime said earlier.
I think y'all missing like the point when I like we say like yo support some of the other horses and like yo we want the one in a chance miracle on 42nd Street miracle. No, we don't want that. We want motherfuckers to at least acknowledge that yo there's another horse on the field.
Okay,
There's something else we can be doing. We don't have to keep the analogy
do for us if it's better if
Horse
it's
would be
most likely better off
progressives or
dead
third
anyway.
party or things like that.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with Prime right here, but like y'all are missing the point. Like what Prime said earlier is absolutely correct. Like Manchin and Sinema take the fall for this. They become the fall guys. They're the representatives because it works for their aesthetic. But they're not the only two. It's not just these two are further out in front. Like the reality is they're just a spokesperson. Like okay, bring me the thing because it boosts Manchin's overall like his approval rating, and Sinema, like I said, she might not really give a F. But if they voted, if you could get them in line, like I said, there's someone else who would come out like, actually, I kind of did have a problem with it as well. I just didn't want to say anything because I knew they would. But so I don't think that it's just a 2-horse race of like replacing them. But I think what I do think is crazy because I have to talk bad about Prime. It's the fact that we instead of like 50 Republicans voted no, 50. And we are here talking about the Democrats. That 48 of which voted yes. This is who we're putting our energy in, and I get that's because they're supposed to be our side. I get why you hold them. There's a level of like higher critique for them. That's fair, a slightly, but I feel like we become a society that we never criticize the Republican Party anymore.
Oh, no.
Literally, all we say is like, well, they're going to be who they are.
January 6th. January 6th. Can I get another January 6th? But the Democrats are still running that shit, bro. Like
Committee's still going.
I'm not talking about
still running on that shit.
Committee is still active.
I'm talking about the people on the ground. Like we never say anything about the Republicans anymore. They're the ones.
Of course we do. Come on.
Who is a Republican outside of Trump? Name a Republican politician.
Jay, I'll let you
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
DeSantis, Ted Cruz, Michael Rubio, Matt Gaetz.
I was just going to say exactly what you were saying earlier, Prime.
Matt Gaetz.
Jay.
I was just going to say exactly what you were saying earlier. Is that we need to focus inside the party. Inside the party, we're doing fucking dog shit. Like we have nothing to stand on. We're scattered. Biden has literally what does he have?
Child tax credits, the most spending in U.S. history.
Child tax credit about to expire. Congrats. Okay.
I was gonna say an infrastructure
what do we have
bill.
long term?
The infrastructure bill literally is just a little patchwork. It ain't even
A little patchwork.
Nothing.
Then the trillions
We don't
of dollars.
have anything long
It ain't shit.
term.
Okay.
we're
Like-
out of weed, bro.
Not the
long
long-term.
term.
Not the
We ain't
long-term
got
at all.
nothing to smoke.
Oh
No,
my
they-
God.
but
Everything comes back to weed for you.
Y'all all
doesn't it?
born in like 2 years. Y'all were born like 2 years ago. Y'all have like the grounds you're comparing what Biden's done to like your ideology, like something in your head. But I'm saying when you compare him to what he's done to other presidents, he's been extremely effective.
Okay, then what's going to be Biden's legacy?
I mean, I think
Not being Trump. That's it.
Afghanistan.
Thank you.
That's literally it.
Probably.
Oh, by the way,
I didn't even bring up
legacy.
Afghanistan.
Like, are we gonna say
No,
COVID because
no,
these
not
numbers ain't
Afghanistan.
looking too
Terrible
good?
Not Afghanistan, get out of the war.
First off, that
20
was
years.
seriously Trump's.
I mean, good on him for getting out of the war.
He could've
I don't
stopped
think
it.
that was a bad thing to get out of the war. But
Trump legit had a
people are
full
gonna
blown plan on how to
remember.
do it.
People are gonna definitely peg him for the rest of his career on like the execution of it for sure.
We're
Yeah,
gonna,
Afghanistan literally turned over to Taliban power, like control. Like this is not something to brag about.
in 20 years, we're gonna think super positively of Biden overall. Like,
Literally,
But wait. You
The-
still
the
have to
Taliban
answer.
has a Twitter.
Wait. Be more. Hold on. Wait. You have to answer the question because like Jay Cook just asked it. You can say that, but in 20 years, what will we look positively on? Because like
Exactly. Yeah.
it's not gonna be letting Afghanistan fall to the fucking Taliban. It's not gonna be that. It probably won't be like COVID with these numbers fucking looking the
Yeah.
way they do.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that. Like, what is it about Biden's presidency
Not
that we
being
can be like,
Trump. That's it.
he was good at, he did it, but like, other than not being Trump.
I'm
I mean,
telling you,
not like
Biden is going to
fair-
be
Trump
looked.
is not
Biden
like
is
to be
going to
fair,
be looked
Yeah,
at
it's not
similar
worth
to
it.
freaking Biden's going to be looked at similar to freaking FDR.
You gotta tell me why. You
promise
gotta tell me why. Like
Because of
FDR,
the
he had the fucking
because of the level of spending.
the level of spending, but like,
Yes.
where's his
On
New
what?
Deal? Where's his big bill that justifies all of this spending, like FDR had, where we do look back at him? Plus, there was also a fucking
Wait,
world
what's a
war
lot of
on
the spending
him.
on? Is it on like COVID relief? Because I mean, that'd be kind of weird to judge him on a big spending if he's like trying to bail out the country from a pandemic, right?
No, it's not just COVID. Like I said, we try to call the infrastructure bill little because it wasn't what he originally asked for, but it's not little. $1.2 trillion isn't a small amount of spending, and the Build Back Better plan, which I don't think is completely dead. I think that's still going to be readjusted and come back at some point. I think that's still going to be another $1 trillion worth of spending, even if it had some like other changes done to it. Now I could be wrong about that, but that's where I stand on that, and I think that would be insane,
I just don't think.
along with an expanded child tax credit. My bad.
No, you're fine. I just don't think that's something that, my kids are gonna learn in a history book.
It's not comparable.
It's not. It's nothing.
No one's
It's because
gonna
you're
look at.
living it.
Oh,
No,
please.
it's
makes it
because like
worse.
bro, even in World War II, even during like the New Deal, motherfuckers like looked at the shit that happened after FDR's New Deal and was like, damn, say what you want about that nigga, but it's go. He gonna live in the history books for this one. Like, I can't say that about
I don't
Biden.
believe it. I don't think that they saw. I don't think they saw it as meaningful change. They were like, "Oh, okay, like this is pretty." I don't think the people there say like, "Oh my god, this is so substantial." Like, it's hard to feel these things on the ground while they're happening. I think like I said, when we look back in a decade of like, what are the impacts of this infrastructure bill created? What are the how do these things roll across? I think that I think that he's going to be remembered really highly as like a big change towards the country. I mean, whether we like it or not, he is the most progressive president in U.S. history.
That is true.
Oh,
Outside
Ain't
of
that
Beamer's
fucking
uncle.
ain't that fucking
How?
sad though?
no. Trying to fight the whole Southern aggression was pretty progressive.
Yeah, like,
Hold
Like,
up.
this is the
Do
dumbest shit in the world.
not get me on President Lincoln. President
Wait,
oh, we
Lincoln.
not
Oh,
wait,
shit.
time out.
Abe Lincoln.
Time out. Wait,
Shut
be more, shut up. We not talking about Lincoln. We talking about Ulysses S. Grant. My boy did the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, like fought against the KKK
That's
with the
crazy.
army, like, and he was one of the only presidents to do so. So, like, yeah, like,
Biden's the
Ulysses was
progressive.
better. I was about to say, I thought you was talking about Abe. I
The
was like,
13th
don't get me
Amendment
started on
sucks,
Abe.
though.
No. The whole point is the fact that you're gonna give Pyro Ulysses and I bring up Abe. The whole Biden being the most progressive is
Biden
laughable.
is still more progressive than yes.
Oh,
Both.
please.
Okay, all right.
In comparison
all right,
to what?
We're gonna. Oh my god, we're gonna have to leave that there. Oh boy.
Hot take. Holding up
Unfortunately.
a BLM flag does not make you a progressive.
Thank
He
you.
held up a
the
BLM flag.
dashiki don't make
Oh,
you
oh,
a
hell
progressive.
Peace, family.
Peace,
boy.
family.
Oh my god. Oh, wow.
That's
family.
There is such a
Does it
thing
wake
as
you
a
up?
term
What's going
called
on?
virtue signaling.
Okay, let's move
Never heard
forward.
of it.
Okay. We're gonna go on to our next topic. Before we do that, hey audience, if you've been sitting here, been enjoying this content, do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Hit that follow button right now. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. We do 6 nights a week. We do a lot of this, right? So please come on and check it out. Exclamation social in chat or our social media. We have Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, where we occasionally tweet things. Discord is the heart and soul of this community. Come to Discord. We have online conversations like you see here, offline conversations all the time, 24/7, right? Be a part of that. We'd love to have you. Jump into our Discord. And then, of course, YouTube. YouTube, if you've missed anything, it'll end up on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe, and consider becoming a YouTube member by hitting that join button. Thank you so much. Thank you, D10 Dream, for being so kind and using your Prime Gaming here on the channel. Awfully kind of you. 3 months of Prime Gaming. Love to see it. Thank you for the support, dude. Very much appreciated. Okay. Moving forward to our next topic. MLK Day just passed, and as usual, it was characterized by commercialization. Rather than taking the day to reflect on the history of bigotry of our country, it was used to sell mattresses. And the vision of MLK continues to be co opted and diluted for the aims of capitalism. Is this undermining inevitable? Also, this week, toy maker Mattel released an Ida B. Wells model of their Barbie line. Is this a form of positive commercialization? Should we look at this with pride? Or is this capitalist just making a profit off of the black struggle? So yeah, you already know it. Like what MLK Day is used for, and like for to be fair, lots of federal holidays are kind of used the same way to just to sell shit, right? But oftentimes politicians will glom onto MLK's words and twist them, right, or ignore all the parts that are inconvenient for them. The parts that show that he was a radical and not like a fucking Santa Claus and some shit, right? Like, that happens all the time, right? Then you'll have like companies like marketing his words like I have a dream that I'll provide you with the steepest sales today, right? Like and get this product into your home. And then beyond that, like we have the this Ida B. Wells doll, right? So it's a Barbie doll, and I mean, it could inspire little girls, right? Like, is this something that we want to embrace? Is this positive? Does this work for us, or do we want to just reject all of this sort of commercialization? Say it's all bets, all just a tool to help a form of capitalism that doesn't actually help the community. So we'll get all your opinions on these things. D10 Dream, please.
I don't think the solution to our problem with the MLK Day is to remove or like reject commercialization. I think we should add on top of commercialization. We should have education and commercialize it. I don't think there's something inherently wrong with commercialization unless they're like lying to get like sales. Like if they're blatantly lying, then yeah, then that we should reject the lies. But you know, Martin Luther King is like is in his own league. Like I think it's him and Cesar Chavez that have their own solo holiday. Like no other holiday is like only celebrating one person. So like it's pretty unique, and we should probably celebrate MLK and for his values. And I remember the last topics. It was like, how are you gonna convince like white people of UBI? I'd be like, hey yo, you like Martin Luther King? Do you disagree with anything he says? No. I love Martin Luther King. Everything he says is great. Then you should be for UBI because Martin Luther King said guaranteed minimum income, which is the same thing as UBI. So like, there's a bunch of great ideas that Martin Luther King said, and we should really talk about them. But I don't think removing commercialization is going to help anything really.
Thank
Moving
you.
on.
Jamali.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched a video. I didn't pay that much attention to the video, but I was watching it. The descendant of the person,
Ida B. Wells.
Yeah, Ida.B. Wells seemed to be more or less okay with it. In fact, was a large part of making it and stuff. It doesn't seem to be something that is grossly using this person's like character or identity to misrepresent or anything like that. More people being aware or more abilities for people to come into some sort of engagement with the subject could be more beneficial just in general. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care about this. This is silly. If people want to make some money off of some stuff, and it does the thing of raising awareness, then good. That sounds like a good thing to me.
Black American made.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the I.W. Wells doll, like, I don't think it's problematic, but I think that junk was whack. Like, ain't no little girls want to play with no I.W. Wells doll. Like, I guess it's cool as like an adult for a collector piece.
Yeah,
but like,
I was gonna say collector.
you gonna like,
Yeah.
come on here, like, get it for their little daughter. Like, come on, don't you want to be a feminist? Like, what does this mean? What does any of this mean? And I'm not anti-feminist.
Do you know what
Definitely
Ida B. Wells did?
Yes,
know
he was
anything
an
about
actor.
Ida B.
I know
Wells?
Ida B. Wells. Yes, but that's not my
Do you
point.
know
Either
Ida
way,
B. Wells? Do you know
little girls is not trying to play with Ida B. Wells. That's all I'm saying. That junk is lame. But
Don't speak for women, bro.
Why not?
True.
You're right. You true. Exactly. That's the
Fringe.
same. My bad. But
True and
speaking overall to the concept of like commercialization, Martin Luther King has pretty much been socially officially whitewashed. Um, I think that, but I do think he was still long term more effective activist than who we now like some other people we like to praise, like Malcolm X, like um, W.B. Du Bois. Like I think that Martin Luther King was substantial in creating more change and should be respected as such. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Go on.
Jay Cook.
Um. Okay. Yeah. I think all national holidays are gonna be hallmarked in a way. Because we live in a capitalist society. So, this was inevitable. I mean, there's fucking in your Discord. There's like daishiki memes that we posted.
Oh yeah,
So,
fire!
yeah, it's I think
Shout out to abolition.
it's um it's
God bless you,
inevitable. It's
soldier.
really unfortunate because, Bam, you brought up that his memory is whitewashed, and I do want to talk about that a little bit. By your definition of that. Because I think, we know that I have a dream speech, but we don't know everything we don't know enough history about what he did, and the impact of that I think is been dumbed down a lot more. um with the Barbie thing, it is good that I think it was her great granddaughter.
I think just a great granddaughter.
God damn. Okay, great granddaughter. I forget it's not that far away from us. I do like that they, helped Mattel in that, but honestly, representation is good, but also reparations are better. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, I'm gonna save Joe for last on this one. Let's go to Pyro.
Um, fuck you, Jay. You just like to have my spiel, but yeah, like this is America. Like it's a capitalist country. Being commodified as a holiday for some reason in this country is like being welcomed at the dinner table. If this is the start of it, like with the Ida B. Wells though, I'm not gonna complain. In my opening, I'm gonna attack Bam's point. Like, you stupid for that point. I don't know like what you did when you was a kid when you was toys, but like it didn't matter how I played with toys, like, shit like that. When we're talking about like how they influence kids, how they introduced. When I was introduced to like the Ultimasaurus Rex 2000 as a fucking 4-year-old, and then I banged that against the wall and like had ass sex with a Barbie, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but that did start an interest in dinosaurs and shit right there. Like, so it could be the same thing with this doll.
Wait, what?
They may fucking go to war with fucking Ida B. Wells. They may do some Rambo shit with Ida B. Wells. But if that introduction sparks some interest in like, yo, who the fuck actually is Ida B. Wells? Who are we to deny it? Kids do dumb things with toys. And I see y'all reacting to it, and that's my point. Y'all know y'all walked into some little ass kid doing some fucked up weird shit with an Elmo doll. Don't pretend you don't. Let's not pretend kids ain't weird with toys, but it sparks interest from a young age, and like I'm okay with this. The woman, the great granddaughter, she was okay with this. She approved this. She got some money from this. I'm okay with this, especially if black people make bank.
Wow. Okay. Well, be more, do better.
Sorry that went over your head, Prime.
Okay. All right.
I mean, kids do be making up the dumbest scenarios, and mad stupidity with toys is just kind of the whole point of having like a crazy imagination. So I kind of get you, Pyro, but sometimes, you can be too much for some people. That's their
Y'all
fault,
say some
right?
dumb shit on
Like
this panel all the time. I don't want to hear that.
all the damn time. I know. But I'm not too passionate on this one. Look, any level of diversity in toys is cool. It's cool to walk down the toy aisle and there's some black dolls, some white dolls, some Spanish dolls. The Encanto dolls. Like the Hispanic community's eating those up.
Russian dolls.
Now when it comes to this whole capitalism and holidays, like come on, like it's a fucking guarantee. Got a whole bunch of people finally have time to go out and make purchases with their family. Like, sometimes some of these big purchases, like you want to do as a collaboration. A person is not going to go and buy a mattress without their spouse's feedback or perspective on it. So it kind of makes sense on a federal holiday. You'll probably both have it off or more likely to, and they can make these big purchases. I don't know. I just think that's just simply the way it is. So I'm not too, and I don't have a big gripe about it. So that's pretty much my take. I want to see what Joe has anything to say. I don't know. We'll see. That's all I
Eli.
got.
So, aside from the Toy Story deleted scenes, which I did enjoy, by the way, Pyro, that was fucking hilarious. As someone who is a feminist and someone who, or at least I would consider myself a pretty big feminist, I do believe that representation is something that very much does matter, especially when it comes down to children's toys. Um, I don't even think it necessarily has to be like an Ida B. Wells doll. It just has to be like, a woman of color, a person of color, of some sort, because it's not just white children that or white girls that play with dolls. It's there's even young boys that play with dolls. I don't think this is something that we necessarily need to. No offense to to any of you. I don't necessarily think this is something that anybody needs to blow out of proportion, like the whole Mr. Potato Head shit. Um, but again, I do think that it is very important. And if I can respond to a Bam real quick, who wants to play with an Ida B. Wells doll? A kid. Like a kid is most likely gonna want to play with an Ida B. Wells doll because to them it's just a toy. But to many children of color, it is a toy that looks like them or looks similar to them. And as far as the whole Dr. Martin Luther King Day goes, yeah, I basically agree with the majority of what people in here said. It's capitalism. It's gonna happen. I like what Pyro said again about being welcome to the dinner table. That was a very great analogy. I think your creative writing teacher would have been proud if you ever had one of those. And I'm not kidding either. I do think that there needs to be. I forget who said it. I think it might have been. D10. Somebody said that there not only needs to be capital made, but there also needs to be education. I'm pretty big on that as well, and that's basically all I got to say about that for now.
Hey,
Hey guys,
Joe?
fun fact. Oh wait, Joe didn't. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Show list.
I don't care what the United States does when it comes to the commodification of black people. Like we've seen time and time again that you can call it capitalism. I'm just going to call it America. America has shown time and time again that it just doesn't necessarily care about black people. We're not on the front of the line when it comes to the prioritization of us as a race, Africans as ethnic group, and there's a lot of evidence to support that claim, right? Like we,
Mountains.
you get politicians who make proclamations about how they're gonna combat anti-Semitism, and but then like when the rubber hits the road of like, okay, what are you going to do to help like ensure that Jewish people feel safe in their places of worship, states? You don't do anything. When it comes to stop Asian hate, all right, we're gonna pass a bill or a couple things to say like, hey, we see you Asian people and you're just in like your issues with discrimination, but they're not gonna deal with the wealth inequality that exists within Asian Americans, which is like why it's the widest among racialized groups. And yeah, like I again, like I said, that we're in the last of the line. I'm not trying to diminish the plights of other groups in the United States, but by and large, like they'll find a way to commodify anything. And it's something we've got to accept. I think what's more productive in the long term is that like see what these people are doing and just keep your eyes on the ball. Like the media functions on this outrage cycle, and just don't fall for it. Like when you see Mattel make a fucking Huey Newton action figure with um the FBI accessories and the entire state police, and just ignore it. If you see Rachel Dolezal and they give you a bunch of different crayons that you can choose what tone you want her to be for the day, ignore that. Actually, they probably would do that with like Ariana Grande before they do that for Rachel Dolezal. But yeah, just keep your eyes on the ball, and just like work toward. It sounds so cliche this day, but like work towards building your community. Like identify the issues that can help people in your areas better and to be better, and try to go for that. And if it's a little bit, sure. If it's a lot, great. But I think you just kind of do what you can. Like the it's like I mean, Ida B. Wells doll, whatever. I'm okay. Come on vacation, whatever. It's just the same shit, different day. You know.
I think MLK can bring out a lot of good in people when they know about his history. Like I'm personally inspired by MLK. My mentor, Reverend Amos Brown, Dr. Reverend Amos Brown, was the mentee of Martin Luther King. So I consider myself like third generation Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King mentored my mentor, and my mentor is mentoring me. And that's I went to Morehouse because of Martin Luther King. I was like, I want to be like Martin Luther King, and I kind of like a lot of my ideology, like what would Martin Luther King would do, kind of like how Christians be like, what would Jesus do? But other than that, it's like that's why I like what I agree with Eli because he agreed with me basically. But like a lot of people should know more about Martin Luther King. I'm still learning a lot about Martin Luther King. Somebody said that he's a socialist.
He is.
I don't think
Or
that's
he
true.
was leaning more towards socialism.
But did he identify as a socialist?
It's from what I know, it's like a little bit like it's kind of like up in the air in a way. From what I know, like he was very critical of capitalism, and he was definitely not a
Right.
capitalist. And he also apparently denounced communism, but like his sort of like definition of socialism sort of wavered or something like that.
But my question is like, what the? I'm sorry. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like,
Oh, I was just answering the question.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
I was just
you
answering the
don't
question.
think that
let's
To be
just
honest,
Martin
be
Luther
real.
King politics matter, like towards how people see him?
Here's a better question. What would Martin Luther King be doing right now if he was alive?
Making
I'll be fighting
TikToks.
for
He would be on
reparations and
Primecayes
UBI.
channel.
You'll be
He'd
right
be
here,
building,
right
like,
now, at the
it's the same-
ABE.
He'd be with us.
Like
Martin Luther King was an
it just-
activist, but he was mostly a pastor. He was a pastor,
Yeah,
like
it
because
calls-
pastors used to be the activists. My bad.
Sure. And what do pastors do? Build their communities. Like this harkens back to a Kwame Ture lecture that he did, where it's like he basically said if King was alive right now, he'd be building his community. So it's like why aren't other people building their communities?
Can
And there's
do
a
this and
there's
commodify
yeah.
King at the same time because that's going to be an issue because this is America. Like, thank you,
Absolutely.
Jacob. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Beadle, for pointing. This is America. So, like, if we want to build up our communities, cool. Support black businesses that do the like. I have a dream that one day you'll save 50% off on all house cleaning apparel. Like, yeah, let's support black businesses that do that. Let's do that. Like, I'm fine with that. I see
I'm-
that
Not
plenty
gonna
from.
lie, I don't think I've ever seen a black business do something like that.
Bro,
How
I've
about
seen
get
people
There's a
dragged on
club
Twitter?
event
I've
every
seen
MLK
people
day.
sell they fucking mixtapes with MLK shit on it, right? And every track is
Justin
like
Bieber did it.
a fucking pun on like one of his speeches, bro. Like, let's not pretend it don't exist. It may not
Yeah.
be widespread, but like, yo, if this is shit that's gonna happen, and we're gonna talk about we need to build up our communities, like the Ida B. Wells doll and her great granddaughter coming forward. Let's support our people when they come up and they're like, yo, we're approaching like
Right.
these businesses and shit. We're the ones making money. And then, we gotta push that like, yo, reinvest that money back into your community if we actually like care about our people investing in the community. If you want to be that activist type, reinvest it in your community.
I think
Everyone's not that activist
the
type.
bigger
how do
issue-
there is a level of like separation to it, right? Like
No.
as much as we want to believe that like an Ida B. Wells doll is like a decent thing and a great thing for like people within our communities in terms of like seeing things that look like us, like at the end of the day, that's not going to do anything to change the conditions of like the children who get these dolls. There's like by and large,
So you
statistically,
wanna fix all.
I don't want to fix all. I just want people to keep their eyes on the ball. Where it's like, sure, we can enjoy these things. There's nothing wrong with enjoying like what America gives us, but at the same time, we can't look at the things that capitalism gives us, whether that be an Ida B. Wells doll, whether that be a really sweet sale on MLK Day, and think of that as progress. Like that's just kind of just like America's doing America shit.
My issue with it,
I agree.
Then we go forward. Like this is we don't just stop at the idea. Like I want the TV series. I'm like, let's force our way into fucking media and shit. Like,
Yeah. Can I go, Bam?
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you good. Now I want you to go for me. Yeah, you good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. And I think it goes back to what I think it was D1 who said, education goes hand in hand with this. And as my mom bought me Barbie dolls as a kid. So one of the ones I distinctly remember, two were when I got a Brandy doll, and it was when she was Cinderella, and I love that doll so much that I took it out of the box and then I ruined it, and then my mom was mad at me. And then two, I got an I Love Lucy doll as well, and that was another collector's that she would not let me touch after that Brandy incident. But my point being is that I learned about Cinderella, the Brandy version, was my favorite movie. I Love Lucy was one of my favorite TV shows. Getting those dolls for me, as a child, kind of like that was my gateway into learning about these people and learning about these things in media, right? Or in this culture. So I think it's more than just getting the doll. I think it's the meaning behind the doll that is up to parents to kind of push on their kids, or if not, a kid to kind of run with that in their imagination, if that makes any sense.
No, I could agree with that. That's what I was gonna. That's kind of goes well with what I was gonna say. I think there's nothing wrong inherently with the concept of commodification. Um, it's preferably, actually, yeah, really super preferably if it benefits like that person or that family, like in some way directly, like they're getting a cut of the money. But I don't want. I'm not okay with it if it comes at the expense of what these people represent. And like I was saying in my opening, I think that this has been detrimental to Dr. Martin Luther King. Society sees Dr. Martin Luther King as the centrist guy who did the "I Have a Dream" speech, and the only portion everyone ever references is little white girls and little black boys can hold hands together and be seen as one. And
Beautiful.
people remember people think they remember Dr. Martin Luther King as the guy who was really super agreeable at the time, and everyone thought he was rational. And because he was nonviolent, that means that he wasn't like he wasn't controversial. He wasn't seen as controversial at the time, even though he was seen as extremely controversial, and he was seen as extremely disruptive. And a lot of his nonviolent protests did turn into riots. Not to his, not out of his control, but sometimes things got out of control when people are attacking you and you're dealing with large bodies of people. So yeah, that's why I think that he's been overall pretty whitewashed by history. Probably
I think
due to
that what you
commodification.
just said makes sense because
Actually, I
how
agree
can
with
you
that.
how can you view Martin Luther King as agreeable, like in his time? Like that doesn't make it, especially when he got killed. Like anyone that be like, hey, yo, he actually got killed. He's definitely not agreeable. And on top of that, I think maybe the framing is different because when people say that Martin Luther King was a bit, or it might be the case that when people say that Martin Luther King is agreeable, is that people in today's society largely agree with what Martin Luther King said, as in the whole integration thing. Like I think today's society's mostly overwhelmingly over 60%, over 70% agree with integration, or it's like we're cool with it. So I think that's probably what people are saying when saying he's agreeable, rather than everybody agreed Martin Luther King in 1965. Like of course not. And
But that's
Like,
what people think. The people think that like he's
yeah,
did
but I
have
don't
a
think
dream
that's the
speech,
that
and then
may
like
be
everybody
value.
just cool.
There may be some people's thoughts, but I don't think that's the mainstream Martin Luther King thought process. I
That is
really
the
don't.
mainstream Martin Luther. You bring up any of his quotes when it comes to doubting
But it's not.
capitalism, right?
He
You
was.
notice how motherfuckers instantly change the tune. Like, oh wait, what? He didn't say that. He didn't do this. Let me actually check it up. Like they actually want to fact check. But like when it comes to the shit we all know and love, like I have a dream that one day little like everyone knows that, and they kind of like plaster him up like the mascot of civil rights.
Yeah,
He
but
looks at the
if you
past
ask
as
people and you ask them, was he agreeable in 1964? Like, did the majority of society agree with him? I highly doubt that they would say, yeah, of course, everybody agreed with Martin Luther King back in the day when segregation was
Because that's
legal. Of
because
course,
they
they did.
always
I
throw Martin Luther King at like BLM now. Like, why can't you be like Dr. King? Everyone like Dr. King. You know, he
Part of
wasn't.
the white. That's part
no,
of the
I think the
whitewashing.
point
Everyone
is like
likes Dr. King. Like, currently, we do like Dr. King.
I think the point is that D1 is trying to make is that everyone looks at the past as or maybe this is not your point, but everyone looks at the past in a more positive light than when they did then, right? Yes, he was clearly not agreeable, right? He went to jail in the Montgomery bus boycott. He pinned his letter from jail, right? So and that no one quotes that letter. That letter is scathing
Okay.
on the American politic at the time. It, I don't think that he was agreeable, and I just think that's a lack of people not knowing their history.
It's a
Right.
People don't
it's,
want
it's
to
a
know the history.
whitewash. It's a whitewashing of
Yeah, it's
history.
part of the whitewashing.
When Martin Luther King like died, he was one of the most hated people in all of America.
Yeah, but Jay Cook, that is not what my point is. My point is, I don't think anyone, or I think some people may have this crazy radical idea that he was liked all the time throughout his whole life.
Right, and he
Yeah,
wasn't.
but I do not think it is the mainstream that if you go ask the general populace, was Martin Luther King liked by the majority of society, or at least the majority of white people in America back in the day? I don't think they would say yes. Like, obviously he got killed for a reason. If you just bring it out, this
Well,
nigga got assassinated, they'd be like, oh
I
shit,
think
yeah, you're right.
I think
They
I
believe that
think
Dr. King
I
like
think,
sat people
hold
down and
hold
like,
on.
just come on, guys. Why can't we all just be friends? Like that's
I
that's
think
what
I
the,
get
the
what Pyro is
ideology.
Like-
saying. I think I get what Pyro is saying. I think what Pyro was trying to convey here, I'm sorry to cut you off, Bam, but I think what Pyro
Oh, you
is trying
good.
to convey here is that people will say, especially a lot of white people, a lot of white Republicans will say that they like Dr. Martin Luther King, but deep down, they don't. A lot of white people to this day do not actually like Dr. Martin Luther King. What comes out of their mouth is not what they truly believe in.
Do you
And
think that's
why
most white people?
I don't think no, I don't think that's most white
Just
people.
to
No,
clarify,
I don't think that's most white
just to
people.
clarify my point a
Of
little
course,
bit.
there's gonna be racists that hate MLK. Like,
I don't think it's that they don't like. It's not that they don't care about Dr. King or like they don't like Dr. King. I think it's like the whitewashing in our education system has produced this image of
Yes,
Dr. King as the
yes.
person who links hands and sings "Kumbaya" and walks to work instead of taking the bus, and that's
Right.
how you get civil rights. Like
Right.
we see it every time we have like some type of rumbling of that shit in America, whether it's police or whether it's like fucking incarceration issues in a protest. We said them being like, "Yo, why can't you be like Dr. King? He was respectful. He was responsible." And then we look back on it, like Jay Cook said, the history on it. No, it wasn't.
It's
It
like
wasn't this like peaceful movement.
oftentimes
It wasn't like the fucking kumbaya shit that they want to teach.
he's
He was wanted
respectable
by the
to
FBI.
he's
Yeah, like
respectable
the
to today's
FBI were
standard.
like, like sending him like, "Yo, you might want to shut the fuck up or else." Like, come on, like he wasn't this likable person, and that's how he presented. So that's how most people appeal to, and that's the image they like. It's not Dr. King. I can't say they like Dr. King because what they like isn't Dr. King.
they
I
like
think
a
what people like
whitewashed
is
version.
nonviolence. I think they like nonviolence protests.
Oh yeah,
Yes, but the
everyone
thing
likes
is,
that
Like,
but the thing
when
is,
it's
everyone
something
likes
they
that,
disagree
and
the
with.
civil rights
and
protests,
that's
they
why
were not
when
Yeah,
nonviolent.
everyone did disagree. Thank you, Bam. Yeah, you added that. There you go.
Huh? There's a difference between nonviolent protests turning violent via like police brutality and nonviolent protests rioting from like from the people there. Like Martin Luther King protests, like unless you're talking about the one after he died, like those were straight up riots. Like people were just so angry. How dare you kill the most nonviolent nigga? Of course we're gonna thrash your shit. But when Martin Luther King was there at these protests, he was nonviolent, and nothing happened until like racists did some shit or some police did some shit. And
That's how most protests. People, I mean, some people do have effed up,
exactly.
like some places with bad intentions, but most protests, especially dealing with like BLM or anything else,
exactly.
If you want to talk, but people come there to do nonviolent things. Like the activists are there, like, come on, we're gonna be some level of organized, and then things go haywire. Like, but Dr. King wasn't better at that than we are now. He wasn't like more organized. Like the reality is, a lot of these things ended up turning violent.
I think today
there's all types of like newspaper articles on how like Martin Luther King and the civil rights protesters are like ruining your communities. Like they're showing up in the city tomorrow and they're probably going to destroy it. Like
I think today we just have a lot more media and social media, so it's like a lot more voices, a lot more of these violence are being seen. So it seems like it's more right. Anytime that things are seen more, it's like it seems like it's more like police brutality now is like it seems like it's crazy or it seems like more because we have a lot more body camera footage or whatever. But it's like now we just haven't seen that as much because of technology. But now that we've seen so much more of this, riots, people are thinking it's more. But the reality is it's not. And that's why they're bringing up, I'm saying nonviolence is best. Look at Martin Luther King. He did that shit. So why don't you be like King? But I don't think that the framing that you guys are thinking is different because you guys are thinking people thought they was such a likable dude back then. I don't think that's what people think when they say Martin Luther King is likable. I think they're saying by today's standards, we like what Martin Luther King stood for. And we think by today's standards, the majority of society likes what Martin Luther King likes. Could there be some people that think like this radical thought that Martin Luther King was really liked back in the day by most people? Obviously not. I mean, obviously so, but I don't think that's the majority consensus.
I mean, it might be it might just be how you were raised. I know, and again, all I can point to is where I'm raised. In the South, that's generally the way Martin Luther King was viewed. If they knew that Martin Luther King was like not even socialist, but if they knew his politics were like socialist adjacent, that he would not be viewed like we would not be discussing him in the light that we do. No, you good.
Said this earlier. That's like
more of ignorance.
Yeah, but like that goes into how people view Martin Luther King today. It doesn't matter how he was viewed amongst his peers back in the day because they're back in the day and like that's back then. Like how we view him now, we've taught such a warped view of this that we cut off literally like a complete half of his advocation for shit. We cut off everything he said about like the economy, workers' rights and shit like that. And we focus on the rates in the I Have a Dream speech. And like when people point up like, yo, we want you to protest for things and we want you to be peaceful about it and just like focus on your issues, they usually leave out the parts where he added on, and we also need to fix workers' rights because that is also fucking bullshit in America. Can you believe that? Like, and that's the things we do in America. That's the whitewashing of like Martin Luther King here. Like I think that that's where most people like fall into this fucking trap. Like they'll buy into that because it makes them feel comfortable. Like it makes them feel like, he's one of the good ones.
I think if you had a national poll and polled people, I'll bet money on it that most people do not think that Martin Luther King was liked back in the day.
We just have to agree to disagree on this then. I mean,
it's pretty much impossible to prove it, but that's just my belief. Or whatever.
Matter.
It matters.
Next, sort of like a second part of this. Do y'all believe that sort of this whitewashing, not just the whitewashing, but the way that Dr. King chose to hold himself, the way he chose to appeal himself from the nonviolent perspective, from the like sort of like we're gathering all people perspective. Do you feel that led to the success we've seen from the civil rights movement? Like, do you feel like that was effective? Because I said in my opening, we're entering into a time, at least among like younger people, that on Monday I heard people say that Dr. King was like an agent of the state, like, and it was false. Like people say some wild things, like he wasn't for the movement, but we're starting to glorify the aesthetic of radicalism or the aesthetic of civil rights by like talking more about giving more space to people like Malcolm X, who deserves his own space, and like I said, and like the people like W.B. Du Bois over like Booker T. Washington, when these when these people who took the more, I guess, the slightly more agreeable framework seem to be doing things, seem they got more done.
Well, it's the oh boy, Joe Lewis is gonna get in trouble. Martin
You're
Luther
not.
King, by and large, I would argue, catered his language to a white audience. And I think that's an analysis that you have to kind of make for yourself. And you're not, I personally don't think that marginalized people should cater their message so that it's appeasable to white Americans, personally. But I do understand why so many people, black, Asian, Jewish, Hispanic, what have you, I understand why they do that. One part, I think, is an understanding that these are the individuals who, by and large, are in positions of power. And by and large, they're going to be the metric to the popular opinion in the United States. And I know, like, maybe somewhere out there that's going to make Brittany uncomfortable to hear, but by and large, you're going to have to navigate around that. Some
This
black
is true.
some black Americans, as we've seen, don't give a shit. And with that, not giving a shit and not adjusting your message to cater to a white audience, they alienate a lot of white people. Then you get people who do cater their message to a white audience, and maybe the concern is that, and like, or rather, not the concern, but maybe you have to like relinquish parts of your position just to cater to that white audience. And that's something that for me, when I'm not online talking about like these things, is a bridge too far. But I do understand like why individuals want to do that. I think by and large, King had to make that metric in different points. Like one would say, like, well, maybe you should adjust your audience to whoever you're in front of. And it's like, sure, but we are in an age now where everybody has the opportunity to watch your content. Like everybody's going to watch what Joe Biden says. Everybody's going to watch what Kamala Harris says. And someone like Kamala, it might not, like, let's be real. She's catering to a white audience when she talks every time she opens her
Hell
goddamn
yeah.
mouth. But like she's making that as a calculation. And is that a correct thing for her to do? Talk to Charlemagne. But it's
My jaw hit
it's
the floor when I saw that. Oh my
yeah.
god!
So
I
it's like
love that.
I like this is a little long because I haven't talked in a while, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to make that metric everywhere you go. For me, King catered to a white audience and tried to adjust his language in different spaces, but it's very clear, even amongst other I would say quote unquote civil rights leaders, they disagreed with him. But by and large, with there's I would say that you need to have a level of mutual respect for different people, right? Like I'm not gonna as much as Umar Johnson's funny, I'm not going to go full Umar if I see somebody actively appealing their message as a black American to a white audience. I'm just gonna be like, hey, that's the road that he wants to do, and that's how they like not he or like he or she, whoever the fuck, like that's how they want to do it. So they're gonna do it that way. I'm gonna do it my way. And then maybe like when the rubber hits the road, we'll have to come together on some things, and we'll probably argue there. But
And Joe completely
This
me.
is
Joe, just to like clarify my question, so to make it put in fewer words,
Sure.
is because you got it, but just in case someone missed what I was asking, do we find value in the way that King and other civil rights leaders and people activists before him have used respectability politics? There's a reason why there's an MLK Boulevard and a Booker T. Washington high schools all across the country, but we don't see many Malcolm X high schools or W.
Eh,
Boys. Like those,
they out there.
and that's probably due to the respectability politics. Do we see value in this today? That's the question.
There's value in anything that works, right? So if it works, then how can you say it does had no value? Obviously, there's some level of working there with Martin Luther King. Obviously, he was effective to some degree. So how can you say that there's no value. Obviously, there's value. It's objectively true that there is value. Now we can have a debate about what is the range of value, what's the spectrum, is what is more valuable, what is more, effective than other things. But I think what Joe Lewis is talking about, I agree to some extent, but I actually want to like frame it differently. It's like he had white people in mind with his rhetoric, but it was not exclusive to white people.
Sure.
Right? He had like a more like, let me talk to everybody in America that everybody would like, right? And so that includes white people because they're the voting power. So, and they're the people in the legislation. So I have to include them. So let's make like a race neutral, rhetoric rather than, being super radical. And I think that's very effective, especially back in 1964, right?
Well, even look at the way that people talk about King. Like anytime that you do have a conversation about King, it gets very quick to talking about a colorblind framework. That this is what Dr. King was all about. Like we ought to do this thing, despite the fact that you can't really encapsulate the perspective of one individual based on that singular idea.
I
Like
agree.
with
Yeah.
King, it's incredibly complicated. Like, and this is true for every single individual that talked out about these things. The problem, I believe, is that when you don't act, and again, like this is more of an education problem than anything else, and there's like a lot of ways to navigate this, but it's so hard to really show the different aspects of an individual within education curriculum. So only you really can only have time to cover the big things, and then unfortunately we offset things like understanding and reading and listening to MLK sermons to like higher education. Whether or not, and I'm even saying like even at the bachelor level, like that's usually offset and saved for like master's degrees and doctoral theses. Like people do whole theses of King's sermons and like the analysis of like his progression about civil rights throughout his life. Like, and what sucks about that is when we leave the deeper conversations about individuals to whether it be higher levels of education or putting them behind different types of economic or social paywalls, it's going to be very hard for people to understand these individuals. So, whatever the popular narrative is of an individual, that's going to make it to the forefront, divorced of anything that might show that they're a little bit more complicated than that. They'll show some complication, sure, but not like the full cake of what an individual's about.
And this is why I advocate for more education, right? Just like have like some PBS series, or maybe we go up to people on the street and be like, "What do you know about Martin Luther King? Did you know this? Did you know that?" Something, right? Something. But
So
There's a documentary actually about MLK FBI. It's actually pretty good. It's like all archival. on him.
I wanted to touch up on the
I
respectability,
saw that in my plane.
the respectability politics, and catering to a white audience, because I think this is something that that POC communities do sort of struggle with, or have been struggling with a little bit lately. In the
It's
sense that
controversial right now.
it is very controversial, but I do think that there is a there is a method and a use to it, and I don't think necessarily that we need to cater to white audiences, or cater to white audiences, but I think we need to make it to where it doesn't seem as though we are attacking,
Excluding or attacking.
excluding or attacking a lot of, like, I do agree that like some things we need to like hammer in, like, hey, this one particular thing that we're talking about or that we do, or hairstyle, whatever, this is not for you, okay? That's and you will be okay.
It's
But
kind of weird.
there is there we do need to change the way in which we address and talk about some of these issues where we do want to include white people, because if we just say, if we come off the bat with some shit like, oh, every white person is racist, like, which I have heard people say, I've heard white people say this, every
You
white
got
person,
professors saying this.
yeah, every white person is racist, and I'm sorry, and if somebody clips me, sorry, and decides to post it on the internet somewhere, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with these kind of things, and I think that these things are more counterintuitive than uh, than we would like for them to be. You can't just, when you're teaching somebody to swim, you don't just toss them in the water. You get them, acclimated to it first. You get their feet wet a little bit. You maybe throw a little water in their face. You help them get more acclimated to it. But when you tell a white person, when you're like screaming at them, saying, I can't think of anything right now because I'm tired. But when you're just like coming out the gate swinging and screaming at them because yeah you're angry and you have every right to be. This white person who you know has had a whitewashed education where they see everything from like the lens of a white person and they view the world as through like the lens of a white person because that's the way the world in a way has been working for the past 400 plus years. Like they're gonna sit there and go, well, what the fuck? Because again, they were not taught. And that's why I agree with people like Pyro and I think some others said in this panel as well. Education is important. And I think it really does start with reforming, like not throwing money at education, but reforming what kids and people in college are being taught in their schools and what have you, and in academia.
You mentioned something about racism, and I kind of want to push back a little bit. If you don't believe that white people are racist, well, hold on, what do you believe first off? Like, what do you think the reality is?
I think the reality is that white people are a product of their environment that has prioritized them over other people. And I'm a person that believes in, you know what you're taught. So the problem that I have with, and where I draw the line at like where someone's being racist, is when, someone has pushed back against you and has been trying to politely even explain to you how what you've just said or how you just committed a microaggression, and then you want to fight back against them on that. Well then in that case there might be, I think you're racist. But when someone just says that all white people, every single white person is racist, and I can understand why. I've heard some of the arguments for that. I don't necessarily like subscribe to that because again they just know what they're taught, and it's not something that they're actively, in many cases actively, like choosing to um dare I say believe in or act upon.
So you said a
Not
lot there.
sure.
If that
I
makes
want
any
to
sense.
tackle something that you said. I want to tackle something that you said from the jump. Like, so you believe that because of how the social like to how like society is constructed, white people are prioritized. Is that a correct representation of what you said from the beginning?
Yes, I would say that like white people and their feelings are prioritized.
Sure.
Or
So
tend to be.
what would be your three best examples that you would posit to a white person for them to see and understand that prioritization? Actually, fuck that. What's your best argument? What's your best example that you could think of right now?
My best example for how like white people are prioritized in America,
Yes.
I would say the fact that um, dare I go to the criminal justice system and how it seems as though like a white person will push back on you against you on this and say, oh well, white people are shot more by the cops every year, but then it's like okay, but like we see it all the time about how white men will commit crimes like sexual assault and what have you, and will literally just get off scot free.
More white
Men,
people go to jail. More white people go to jail than black people.
right? But
That
at
would
the
be an
same,
argument that a white person would make.
that would be
And
an
they would
argument.
say that so it would seems like that the criminal justice system is actually prioritizing white people.
Well, no, I would say I would fight back with, well, when you factor in proportions of like the population and what have you, the black community is locked up at a disproportionate rate in comparison to the white community.
Well, of course they are. It seems like they're concentrated in these cities, and in these
Yeah,
cities they keep blasting each other. So it seems like
Well,
there's something wrong with the community there,
I
because
wouldn't say.
there's entire communities of white people all over the country, and white people don't blast each other. So what's going on in these black
Well,
communities opposed to these white communities?
I would then.
Because they
I
don't
would.
have fathers.
Well, yeah, and that's what I would go. I would go. I would ask. I would ask a question. I would say, why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that? And then eventually, what it would go down to is like material conditions for the poor people. Who
Okay,
live in
there's
who live in
there's
those
a bunch
communities.
of white
But
communities across the United States that are also poor,
right, yeah,
and they don't
but
blast each other.
I mean, do you? I wouldn't say that's true. I would say that
Why?
because I'm pretty.
The mafia.
That's a
That
very
there aren't
that's a
poor white
very
communities?
wait, no. I would say that saying that are you playing the devil's advocate and like bringing me an argument that a white
Let's
person
just say I believe this
It's how to
100%.
debate white people 101, bro.
right, okay, I'm making sure. Okay. So
Let's just say I believe it.
you said that white people are not blasting each other in other communities. Again, I would just ask, well, why do you think that black people are blasting each other in
Well, it seems like
other
there's a
communities?
there's just like a bunch of guns in these areas, and we don't have any way of tracking these guns. And then instead of getting a job and doing a bunch of other things, it seems like they just want to just go and find a quick buck and just can get
Okay.
whatever it be, weed or
Why
drugs
do
and stuff
you
like
okay,
that.
and
And
then I would
then,
say and then I would just say I would ask, why do you think that is?
well, it could be a bunch of reasons. It could be on one aspect that these politicians just ignore these communities, but then also
So we should
like,
pay more attention to the communities and like I
well,
said,
but the
improve
problem is
material
that like
conditions.
white communities also have been ignored. Look no further than West Virginia, and look no further than pretty much the vast majority of the Midwest, and they're not blasting people.
Why do you think that they've been ignored? What makes you think that they've been ignored?
Well, it's because that these bureaucrats, and whether it be Democrats or Republicans, these people in power, they just care about making money,
Okay,
and it
so
appears to be that like,
we should change the system and change the people in power then.
well, how
Put
do
him
you
out of his
change the
misery, Joe.
system?
Yo,
We
just
Yeah,
just,
so
just
like,
get to the
that is
point, bro.
real, bro.
The
I mean,
point I
I
was
would just keep
making, the
asking
point I'm
questions.
trying,
Yeah, that's the
the point
Keep
I'm
point.
trying to
asking
make,
questions. Oh my god.
yeah, the
You
point I'm
gonna run
trying
them
to
in
make
circles
here
and he
is
ain't gonna get tired.
Eventually,
that
because I've done this before, eventually it just boils down to, I'm either they're racist or they just have never really
what?
ever talked to a black person before.
Wait,
Okay,
why do I
wait.
have to talk
Can
to
I
a
try
black
this a little bit?
person?
Actually,
Sure.
okay. So easy arguments I think that you would make here would be something along the lines of, well, historically we've seen black people have been kept at a second-class citizen status since after slavery, with things like Jim Crow and other laws that have purposely kept them from owning property and other
Well,
things like that. Not to mention that their zip codes, zip code funding for schools and stuff, typically tend to be lesser than white neighborhoods. So that might lead to lesser education, which might also be a reason why they're more stupid and prone to do things like shooting each other up.
well,
In poor places where white people are less educated, there's still that camaraderie, and a lot of white people is like, well, at least I'm not black. So I think a lot of that does have to do with racism generally for the average person, whether it be conscious or subconscious.
I would.
Literally, it's actually
So
more so related to the condensed. Like there's not large communities of poor white people usually live in like rural areas where it's not that many of them. So like it's even though there's less money, there's still probably more money per people. But like if in the inner cities when you deal with like black kids that are just stuffed in classrooms, 35 to a class, and then like the money also goes a lot less farther because these are usually in inner city areas. Like poor white people living in rural communities probably still have cars, probably still have like houses, generally or trailers or some others like sort of living situation that we consider not up to par, but for the communities is more so stable. Like it's not everything's not equal just because the finances are equal. It also money
Sure.
goes different links in different places.
I was
so
about to say,
I
white
was
people in
gonna
the urban cities be shooting too.
yeah, but like I wanted to push back on what Jamali said. I hope I said that right. What I get people. There's so many times where I want to do what you just did and let loose the facts and shut these people down. But oftentimes, especially when you're dealing with people who are bigoted, racist, whatever you want to call it, oftentimes these people they they don't care about the facts. So the best way to, and they're just going to go on to like the next point. So the best way for you to, what I have seen, what I have realized, what I've experienced that has worked best is deprogramming them by just asking them questions about, get them to make
Interesting.
a point, and then just ask them questions about that point, because now they're on the defensive and they keep having to answer you, and they keep having to cover up their tracks. Meanwhile, you're just asking, and eventually you just hit that rock bottom where their racism shows. I've done this countless times on stream. Like it happens all the
So-
time.
This sounds like build a racist workshop. It's like
Yeah. So
Yeah, like the problem
Let me
I'm
help him.
having
Let me
here.
help you be a better
Listen,
racist,
the
okay?
problem
No,
I'm
wait,
having
wait,
here
wait,
is
so-
that's like
I'm sorry,
you're
go, Brian.
talking about like exposing the racism. It's like, is that the end of it though? You just like, you are a racist. Game over. Like,
Well,
no,
I mean,
now you
said-
got this racist to deal with. Now he's just
no.
gonna be
Drag
like,
his
yo,
ass.
Yeah.
Well, then once you've hit rock bottom, then you can start dragging him. But see, the thing is, you've made an example out of him and others who may think like him, or yeah, in a way.
that
May- other-
okay.
may
So
example
like,
him
how much mental energy are you willing to commit to that type of exercise, though?
I mean, if I got
And what's the
time
goal-
and I'm
what's
on
the
stream and shit,
overall
I'm just-
goal?
I'm just
I
sitting
got
there.
time, cuz.
Yeah, if I got
But what's
time
the
today,
overall
I'll
goal?
entertain it.
But what's the overall goal of this? Like, what do you? Well, if you had to describe what your goal is, what would it be in this
It
aspect?
would be to because oftentimes I think in many cases some people do not understand how
I don't
what
care.
they say.
I don't care. I don't care. What's your goal?
What do you mean? Well, hold on, I'm explaining.
What's your goal?
I'm
What's the
explaining.
no? Say
I'm
what is your
explaining.
what's your
In
what's
many
your
cases-
statement? What is your statement goal? What is
My
your
statement
statement
goal
goal?
would be
And
to-
then go into nuance.
My statement goal would be to deprogram people who might be racist, bigoted, etc. That would be that,
What-
that. And then oftentimes the way you do that is you get them to hear what they believe or hear what they've been saying, and as they continue to think about it and keep going down the path, they'll go, maybe what I believe isn't correct, because oftentimes
I don't
people
think that
Why?
works.
But like
Well, that works.
that's
Wait,
wait, time out.
wait.
That's the
You
crux.
sound
That's
very
the
new
crux-
here.
That's the crux of my that was the crux of my question earlier. If that's it, all you're doing is being like, yes, the ideas you hold are racist, and then you're just living. Well, cool. If the racist ideas are correct, motherfucker, that's what you will get. So, what are the tools in your toolbox where you be like, that's racist, and here's why you shouldn't think that insert group here is inferior and it causing all your problems. That's what you need to give them, and that's what
So
we're all
again-
kind of sitting here wondering, because it's like,
Wait,
cool, they're
hold on.
racist now.
Hold on,
So
hold
just
on,
to be
say-
clear,
hold
just to
on,
be
say
clear,
that-
by the
hold
way,
on, hold on.
everybody's
Pyro.
experience, everybody's experience what you're experiencing right now. So like this is your initiation. I just want to make this clear. Like,
But basically, what I'm asking you is like, once you get someone to make these racist
experienced
claims
that.
and whatnot, and you whittle them down, and you ask them all the questions, and they're like, "Yo, fuck it, I just think I don't like them." What is your next step? If they're just like, "Bro, I'm not gonna like those black people. Look at
Bro,
Chicago. Look
next
at
step
Detroit."
be
What
like,
is, what's the next step after
No,
that?
no. The worst part is when they
Okay.
answer every question, Pyro. When they answer
Yeah.
every single
Yeah,
question.
like when they answer every question,
you
you're like,
act like these
you un-
racists aren't good at what they do.
No, but like
Yeah, being
A lot of them
when you
aren't.
no,
A lot
but like
of these
be,
racists
be
are not good at what they do. A lot of these
No,
racists
but, like,
are
be-
not
Well,
good
you're
at
here
because
now.
racism by
Welcome
itself
to-
is a stupid
welcome.
is a stupid ideology.
No, but like when B-more brings up a good question. When you ask one of your like high academic questions, like, yo, you understand the historical applications of like Jim Crow laws on black people and how that affects their fucking the way they like when you bring up all these things and then they respond with, yeah, I understand it. I just think it's because they're dumb fucking. What's your response to that?
No, they be
My
having
response-
they be covert as hell, and they still navigate these questions with ease. And
They always
get
answer
it right on.
anecdotally. They be like, "I grew up poor, and that didn't make
So-
me."
Yeah, and then
Can I-
and
can I-
then-
eventually you
when
just gotta
they
give it to
answer
them.
when they answer with anecdotes, you go, okay, well that you catch them and go, okay, well that's an anecdote. You can't.
Then eventually,
That's
they
exactly
don't
what it
even
is.
know what an
Like-
avocado is. They don't know what an anecdote is.
I mean,
Anecdote. That's my lived
I guess
experience.
like okay, so like a few things. Like first of all, I don't agree with that approach for a few reasons. The biggest thing is that I think deprogramming and deconstructing individuals' ideas is a very conscious, dedicated, and continual process. And I think one of the problems that exists within online politics is that we believe, and this is a content creator exclusive phenomenon. So anybody who is a perennial chatter or just a panel host that chills in a Discord call and never hits go live, I'm not talking to you. Like, one of the problems that we see is that, like, we're trying to like expose these individuals in a way, like, see, like, even through interrogation, like, they are the racist. But like, come on, man, we know that Mio is a pathological liar. We know that Mio doesn't hold any position, and even when met with like the fact that like what he's saying is categorically false, he'll just morph it in such a way that like no matter what, he's going to be correct. And so that's like like the first thing that, like, I think the only way that you can kind of get to people is being in like a conscious, dedicated, and long effort. So maybe Brittany is trying to deprogram Mio, so I'll give her a brownie there. Just don't put it, just don't chew on it because it's been outside for about 5 days. The second thing is that I don't think we need to I don't think deprogramming works, but I think what's important is setting the floor to where people are, like, not really where the people are at, but just seeing what they believe their reality to be. So like, as you ask questions and as you go like down the logical, or like the whatever the fuck you want to call it, well, as you watch them build their house for you, you'll start seeing things that they put in like weird places. Like, maybe they don't have a toilet in their bathroom that's just a hole in the ground. Maybe they have a bidet. Maybe they have a bedroom with no windows in it. But instead of picking apart as they're building the house, I think it's better to just like get the best representation of their home, and then
Good
to the
on it.
best of your ability, understand why they they say the things that they say and navigate the ways that they navigate.
That's why I asked the questions that's why I asked them questions about the things that they believe. I asked, like, well, why do you believe that? Like, where'd you get that from? Citation needed, please. Like, what's
well,
up?
it's not a matter of like, I don't think it's a matter of citation and
Not even
facts.
just citation. I'm just saying, like, I'm just asking, like, why, where, who, I'm just asking questions, like, why do they believe what they believe? Like, what got you to that specific, to that conclusion, to think that way
Sure,
about
I was
about an
robbed by
entire group
8 dudes for $2. That's why I'm at this conclusion. What
'cause,
if they
like, at the
hit you
end of
with
the,
some shit like that?
So you think
At
so
the-
you so do you think every dude is gonna rob you because eight dudes like robbed you? Like,
No,
It
but
happens
I'm
twice.
scared now.
conclusion?
No, but I'm scared though. I look over my shoulder just in case. I can't
For
help
$2.
myself.
I agree.
$2. Do you
But
understand
$2.
you
What if he
understand
had
the
$10?
embarrassment? Exactly, right?
I
Like,
literally don't know where we are, but like the reality is like if this, I think your method, like, almost well, what everyone's talking to relies on finding like I don't even know what to call it, the perfect races, like the races that we drew a picture of in our head that's like really easily identifiable. And like, because the reality is most people don't see themselves as bad. Most people probably don't see themselves as racist. They see themselves as having a level of prejudice, like they don't even notice their prejudice because it's usually like
It's
implicit.
justified to them.
Some of them don't give a shit. Some of them come pre-exposed.
bro.
Like,
I think that's
like,
much
what the
rarer.
fuck?
I think
Some
that's
of them be like, yeah,
way.
The house is already built, Joe. Burn
I'm
that
racist
bitch
and
down,
proud.
Joe.
Thank you.
I don't know. I just feel like that's a way rarer take on rare perspective. I think the reality is people probably are like, oh no, I think that people should have rights. And then like, maybe then there could be questions, like people think there are people who have rights, but you disagree with this thing that gives people rights, and then you can go like issue by issue. But I don't think that outside of like on like a panel like this, like I would debate someone to try to make them look bad, but like with a real person in real life, I would never try to like well, I don't think you'll ever get anything done trying to like demean or like uh, convince them otherwise. Literally the only thing you can do that seems to work, and I know this because everyone I have to deal with in my regular life probably voted for Trump, probably has a lot of like heavy implicit bias, is be a regular cool person in your everyday life, like be an associate, and then sort of like become someone they trust, and then say things
And shit on them.
that challenge them, not like making them feel bad, but just say things like, oh man, that's not true, right? And if you're someone they trust, now they trust what you say. Like now they have to like dig deeper into what, like, you know, well, Joe said it and Joe's a cool dude, so like Joe wouldn't just lie to me about that. Maybe there is something to this versus like being
But
somebody.
what if
Yeah,
Trump
I-
tells
I
you
guess
that
my-
Joe's
I
fake
do agree
news?
with that to a certain
Yeah.
extent
True.
because Lord does know. Like, a lot of the people who used to be what really moved me farther left was the fact that I used to hang around a lot of like hardcore like right wing people, or maybe not hardcore because like they weren't they weren't.
You can just call
AOP.
them white people. It's okay.
No, it wasn't.
Got him.
It wasn't. It wasn't just white people. It was just. I mean, hold on. But anyways, a lot of
Well,
them. A lot of them
statistically
were,
speaking, if I
Yeah,
took
a
100
lot-
people of that pool
a lot
that
of
you're
those people-
describing,
right. A lot of those people were white and they were
Okay.
right wingers and but for some weird way that moved me. Hanging around those people moved me farther to left. I guess it was a conscience episode where I guess thought, wait, what he just said really doesn't make much sense. But it was also like the fact that when BLM was like first, like the BLM protests and stuff were first kicking off, I started seeing a lot of people in my inner circle go many different ways with the topic and with the conversation. And I'm like, how can you look me in my eye as a person of color and then say you're my friend, but you can't say, and you say that you value me, but you can't say that my race matters, that Black lives matter. You can't say that, but you want to call me your friend. That stuff like, I think that's where I first started to move away from those people, and maybe that was a little late of me, I will admit. But that's where it like first started for me to like move further left, and for me to start questioning the I guess you could say self-hate things that were built up in me as a person of color, as a Black person.
Umar Johnson enters the room.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I used to be a coon. I used to be one of those.
Oh,
I'm admit it. I'm admit
This
it.
is not
no,
a government-sponsored
don't even worry about it.
activity. I have
say
the
that.
right
No,
to
Tommy,
discriminate.
Don't even worry about it.
It's slur time. It's slur
Don't even worry about it.
I'm not gonna. It's not something I'm proud of.
No,
No. I'm
It's
saying
not-
don't say it.
no,
No, I'm
no.
saying don't say it.
No.
Oh, don't say.
Don't say that
I'm
word.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all
My
good, it's
apologies.
all
Don't
good.
even worry about it,
My-
Shouty.
This
My
explains
apologies.
everything.
My apologies.
What word?
I'm sorry. My
Oh,
apologies.
shit.
My
Do
apologies.
the C word.
I am so sorry.
Got him.
My
You
No,
played
apologies.
it's all good. It's all good.
Caught red-handed.
We're
Sorry.
good. Yeah,
Uh,
it's to a point. So like either way, like it's a defensible use of it. So go for it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But I still don't want to. I don't want to offend or hurt anybody. But
No, that's
All
cool.
about
That
offense.
happens.
I used to be a person that disliked other Black people, and there were reasons for that. Like I felt alienated from my race in a way. I was one of those kids where I was like, well, all of my friends are white. When I was in school, I was like, all my friends are white, and all the Black kids bully me. Like it was stuff like that, and for some reason, it took me quite a while to grow out of that into my adult years, and I had to unlearn a lot of those things. And the way in which I unlearned a lot of those things was by hanging around right-wing people, realizing that, hey, these people are kind of crazy. And also by asking questions to myself, and then that I told you guys, that gave you guys examples of in this on this panel, and then exploring those questions myself and going down like my own sort of journey where I answer those questions for myself. And I've used that method on a lot of people in my own streams, and sometimes it works, usually it does, and every now and then it just doesn't, and somebody just calls me subhuman, and then I just kick them out and keep it moving.
But
You're
what do you-
some
Eli, I
human.
gotta ask you. Wait a minute before we move on.
Yes.
And I ask everybody: do you date Black people?
Do I what?
Do you date Black people? And I don't mean
Um,
hypothetically, not the hypothetical, but do you actually?
Can someone add
You
Prime is
love Black
legendary?
people.
I mean,
Because the
You
presence of Prime is
love
legendary
Black
in
people.
chat
Okay,
would
he's a
influence
freshman.
my answer.
He's fresh
Shut
as
up, bro.
Wait, I need an answer.
I hope this doesn't get me kicked out, but I would
Oh,
date
oh.
a Black person, but my fiance is not Black. But
Beyonce
it's
doesn't have.
just who I fell in love with.
Have you?
Have I dated a black person? I haven't, no, but I've tried.
Whoa!
I've
Okay.
You tried? What did you try?
I've been.
Do not sit here and try and defend this.
Wait, hold
They're
on.
fucking
No,
joke.
no.
There's no fucking way.
It's just that it just didn't work out. I just got rejected, and I don't hold that against anybody.
You
Like,
really don't have to defend yourself about why you're not.
Bro,
with
you
them.
Hey,
digging
how
a
could
hole
you?
right
Just
now.
Jay, how
I'm
could you?
just, I just don't want anybody. I just don't want anybody.
Prime,
to say,
there's more than one
It
black
was you.
woman in the
It was
world.
me. I'm sorry. I'm so
It's
sorry.
like no. It's just I'm
On
not,
behalf of all black women, I apologize.
well,
Speaking of black women,
I
sorry.
don't need that. So
Don't you dare!
Here's the
As
funny
you
Don't
thing.
you
should.
dare apologize!
Hey, man.
Take that shit back!
As he should.
As you should apologize,
My
Jay
dad-
Cooks. What the fuck?
When I first started,
That nigga
when I first
tried
started
once.
when I first started seeing my fiance, my dad asked my mom this question. He said, does that bother you at all?" And she's like, "What? The fact that your son is with a white woman, does that bother you at all, with you being a black woman?" And she said, "No,
Whoa.
because my son never said that black women can't ever do anything for him. He never said that." And I said,
That is not the standard.
I said-
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I said,
That is not the
true.
standard.
I said, hold on. I said,
Hey,
that
man.
is true. And
GG.
I felt in a way, I felt like I needed to talk to my dad about it, and I still really haven't talked to him about it. But at the same time,
Stream that
like,
shit.
you know,
Stream that shit. Let's
it
go.
does not. I don't even want to talk to him. Listen,
Content.
anyways, and that's for other things. But you know, and then she told me about how my uncle said that, and I was like, yeah, I can't fuck with
Yeah, but uncles always be saying shit.
They do.
Yeah.
Uncles be saying shit just to
They be
stir the
saying
fucking
this
pot.
Listen, I
They
have
be
a piece
saying
of
shit for the
content.
sake of saying
Okay.
shit.
Yeah, they
That was
just
good.
be
You
stirring
answered
the
it.
shit.
You stood on it. You
Never
honest.
blame your uncle.
I respect it.
Don't give me
Uncles just be stirring the pot.
a cookout.
I say this is what you do, okay? I have a piece. Listen, I'm now your new manager of social medias, and
No,
all
don't take
shit.
on Joe.
I have
No.
a nuclear clickbait title for you to as a stream title. I just want you to think about it. Interviewing
Joe.
my black dad about marrying my white wife,
Oh my God.
and you have to do it on your wedding day before your wedding day. After
You get
have
instantly
the
viral.
rehearsal dinner,
Oh my God.
After you have the rehearsal
Nah,
dinner,
that's money in
at
the
the
bank right
rehearsal
there.
dinner, you put that phone on there, hit start streaming, and have some fun.
Money
Listen,
in the
if you never want to sleep again for the rest of your life, you do exactly what Joe just said. Because I
Not
promise
gonna
you,
lie.
you will never stop getting notifications.
Not
Oh, yeah,
gonna
you
lie.
finna hit the money
that
printer.
is something.
Destiny will watch it. Vosh will watch it.
That
Hassan
is-
will watch it. Mike
is
Walsh
something.
will call to it for some reason. He'll say, and some Twitch streamer was talking about how he's marrying his white wife and his dad had a problem with it. And I think that's
Fanatic will
preposterous.
watch it.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. That is
Fanatic will watch it twice.
Did not have anxiety.
You want
if
to
my
bite the
fiancé
father
did not
on for the
have
after
anxiety,
panel.
that is something I would do. But I don't want to
Yeah.
put her. She's already.
I busted your balls, by the way.
No,
They
no,
gonna make
it's
they gonna
funny.
make some Dr.
That's
Umar
funny. That's funny
views out of
because
you, bro.
I like when I'm not tired like this. That is some kind of shit that I think up. Like that is some kind of shit that I think up. But I'm also like, well, Paige probably wouldn't like it. So I'm not gonna,
Prime. No,
Ooh,
no, you
Paige.
can't do that, Prime. Okay, we forbid you to do this content. Okay,
Isn't Paige like
Okay.
the second most ultimate
Okay.
white woman name?
do you understand?
Shut up.
It's like where they
hold on,
married.
I
Y'all need
know
to- y'all
black
need to
women
stop.
with the name Paige.
Yo,
If,
bam.
if we're all invited to Prime's wedding and then you see a desktop computer in the corner at the rehearsal dinner, get fucking suspicious. All right.
Better be
Consent-
alcohol.
God, my
You're
phone
recording.
is slowly coming out of my pants pocket. Like, oh, I'm ready.
This nigga was
Oh,
about.
this is it. This is where shit goes down. Shit gets
My
Yeah.
bad. I just had to put a little smoke on you. I ask everybody.
No.
Good.
I am completely comfortable
You did not ask.
answering these questions. Like,
The record show, I
am
never answered that
completely comfortable.
You know, the chattest way to answer that question is to be like, no, fuck you. And then end it. That's it. You just move
No.
on.
I'm gonna ask again.
come here. That's the way I answer questions when I'm on stream. When it's like I'm clearly recording a video here. I'm clearly recording the stream as a video, and somebody wants to go, "Hey, let's come on together and let's talk about this." I'm like, when I'm reacting to something, I'm like,
Buddy.
fuck off. Like,
Wait,
you know?
so how?
You're gonna have to get used to the streamer lifestyle. That junk is unpredictable.
Oh,
You
yeah,
never know
If you
what's
come
happening.
in
on stream.
if you come in a Twitch, bro, like welcome to the fucking jungle.
I'm just in awe of the audacity. Like, really, you expect the whole world to just revolve around you, don't you? Like, I'm clearly
Yes,
recording a
that's
video,
exactly what
and
this
you expect
platform
me,
is for.
You expect me to just stop. I
Go
don't
to
even
YouTube,
get paid
bro.
for this yet. You expect me to just stop? Bye. I said that earlier in my stream earlier today. I was like, fuck off. Bye. No.
Wow,
You,
that's
you
love
say that
tangent.
you say that now, but in about 2 months, when some dude makes 5 videos against you, and you like, yo, who are you? You gonna make that response video,
Okay,
and you
well,
gonna
yeah,
feel
I'm
bad
gonna make that
about it.
response video. No, I'm not gonna feel bad. I'm gonna just be like, hey, listen, this motherfucker is so because I've had that. I literally that is my life on TikTok. I'll say that I'll like be like, yeah, whatever, fuck you, and just like not talk to somebody or not engage with somebody or deny somebody's debate request, and then all of a sudden 5 video notifications of how some dude made like made like 5 videos in response to like one of my videos where he thought that like I was stupid or whatever, and I'm like, okay, fine. What you got my attention. What the fuck do you want?
This is
Like,
TikTok.
Man, I'm not talking
7
about
minutes of
TikTok.
his time.
I'm talking about
These
like, yo,
30-second videos.
congratulations, you getting a video essay, my dude. Like, you
yeah,
piss
no,
somebody off, you
like-
getting 5 30-minute video essays. It's the
Yeah,
Netflix special. Why Eli is a goddamn fascist. Part 2 of 5. He has the scarf on, and the scarf was worn by him. Like, you gonna get some weird shit, bro.
You do got the Kanye scarf on.
You got the Kanye scarf.
I am gonna get some weird shit. I'm
That is a
prepared. I'm prepared.
kafaya.
I see those as just more content farming opportunities. It's like, great, I get to make this guy like a psycho, and I get to farm content. So win-win for me. Go ahead, I dare you, make 5 videos about me. Call me a fascist.
Eli, how long have you been with your girl?
We've been with each other.
Dang, now we getting more
for
personal.
About 3 years.
And how old
No,
are you?
don't say that.
I'm
Fuck.
25.
I'm on year 2. Ah!
Oh, so you're telling me from the ages up until 0 to 22, you've only asked out like one girl, black girl, and she rejected you. You said, "Fuck it."
No. I've
There it
asked out
goes.
multiples, but it's just
All of them say no.
I take back my
Jay
statement.
Cook.
I take back my
I've
statement.
Jay Cook,
I've
come
also
on,
been-
dog.
I've
You
also
listening?
been-
You out
Hey,
here
listen,
Take it
pleading.
back. I
If I
do not
can-
apologize.
If
And
I
the statement was
if
retracted?
For it.
If
Put
I
that on
can,
the record.
if I can play my, I'm not racist card because I've checked off all
It's
these
too late.
different ethnic groups. Just kidding. But no, it's just
No.
this is the way things worked out.
So
How
from
did
0
all
to
of
22,
them
ain't no
reject
black girl
you?
wanted you?
I'll say it one time.
No black girl wanted you from 0 to 22.
Yeah, like how did all of them reject you? Like in that little dating period.
Wait,
can you
what's
blame
the topic,
them?
guys?
I mean,
I don't even know anymore, bro. Listen,
What's
time out,
happening?
time out. Who just asked what's the topic? This the all black panel. We've exhausted the topic. We just here till Prime tell us to go to bed. Like, I don't know what this is. Like for all y'all newbies, we just talking at this point. We chilling.
Exclamation mark Discord, anybody?
That at one point in my life, I was one of those, self-hating.
Oh, we know.
At one point.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you should
Yeah,
say.
so
Don't
like,
say that
Yeah.
I didn't choose black women. Don't put it
which
on
one?
them. You didn't choose them.
Time out.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I'm curious. Which one came first though? Like, did you hate
Oh,
black
Lord.
people? Like, did you just like were you a self-hating black person? Because like, hey, that's just on the side of the bed you woke up on, or was it like the reason you self-hate on black people is because you keep getting rejected by black women?
No. It
Were
was
they
just,
too ghetto?
it was the side of the bed that I woke up on. It wasn't because I kept getting rejected. It was
Okay, he just had something in his shoe at that day.
A lot of it was also the way in which I was brought up. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my parents.
Like Ed, Ed, Eddie, he got a splinter in his shoe.
My parents did, especially my stepfather did give me teach me a lot of anti-black rhetoric.
Was your stepfather white
No,
or
he
not
was
black?
He was black. What pyro?
That's
Like
what?
a Chad. I saw that pyro, like a Chad, like just on camera. I wish I was doing what you're doing right now. But no.
In his name.
My stepdad did teach me a lot of anti-black rhetoric growing up, and so as I got into my adult years, I had to go ahead and unlearn a lot of that stuff. And the funny part is, I don't think that the things that my dad was saying, I don't think he understood that those were anti-black sentiments and anti-black things.
But it got
Okay.
you.
So
No,
you
no.
became
They're
you
gonna ask the
became a,
question. No, fuck
you
you.
became-
I'm gonna ask the question. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. I know where you're going. I don't know where you're going.
What's
so,
the question? What's the question?
do you think it's possible that the sentiments that you heard growing up may have led to certain types of bias that might exist in your preferences with people.
At one point in my life, yes. At one point.
1 point,
You
just
you don't
long
think it's
enough
still
to
true?
find a
Yeah,
white
just
woman.
long enough to like,
I don't think it's
yo,
so-
just
Well,
nah.
if you're getting
It's
gay,
just
I don't hate.
Actually, you know
I
what?
like black
You know
women
bro.
You know
now.
what? Hold on.
It's
Hold
just
on.
long
Hold
enough
on.
for the government to
Hold
get
on.
involved, bro. Just
Hold
long
on.
enough.
Hold on.
Oh,
Maybe. See, the
shit.
thing is,
Gotcha.
the thing is,
Joe, you fucked up.
you can only ever keep improving. You can only ever keep
Sure.
improving.
Especially
So
when you start off
there
over here.
could possibly be at some point something like that I maybe still believe in that has not come to the surface yet. That
Mhm.
Oh, well, we'll get there one day.
maybe. And then
Just say
and
right
then,
now,
and then
keep
if
this
it
part
does,
out the marriage vows.
and if it does, I expect people like you guys and other black people
Uh-oh.
to check me on that if I were to
Oh,
ever
we doing it.
if I were to
Check
ever
you on your. I
Bro,
really don't care. who you
listen,
date.
I'm telling you right now, when you up there at the altar and you keep that up, like, I expect other black people to check me. Nah, like, you gotta, like, we in this together. Like, it's me and you. Like, you gotta be sure about that.
Because it's always fun. I'm always interested when I hear people who like, oh yeah, like I just casually ended up with not dating black people. When I hear that from black people, because I always ask like, if I didn't ask this question beforehand and I asked you to name like the 5 things like that you find attractive on another person, like could I apply any of those to black women? Which we can't do it now. It's too late. It's after the fact.
You know what? You could, but I understand what you're saying because
Oh, no.
oftentimes white women.
Because people are like, oh yeah, I like brunettes. I like
oftentimes white
green
blondes.
eyes.
Black women will be shamed for their traits, but then white women will be praised for having, or not even just white women, but just any woman that's not a black woman will be praised for having the traits of a black woman.
Should have been here last week,
how
bro.
does that
Yeah,
make
let's
sense?
see.
that was
Last
talking about.
Last week.
Wait, Eli. So I have a question. So
Goddamn
you said that you did not date black women
With you
conceivably
knowing that-
because you, even though you tried, is because they didn't like you and they didn't like you because you were like a
Maybe-
self-hating
No.
black man.
maybe-
Dream, didn't you feel the same way till you went to Morehouse? Hold on, you putting
No,
the weight on
Wait
him?
up,
Didn't you say you
wait
felt the same
up.
way?
No, that's not true. I dated black women in high school.
He
I
never-
But you
just
said
never-
you didn't think you didn't know
No.
what the
Wait
fine
up,
black
that's
women look like.
true.
Listen,
you said
I just
you
want the
said there
record to
wasn't that
know.
many cuties in your
Fucking
area.
sick.
That's
I
a
just
lie.
want the record to
damn
know
lie.
that
True, there was no
Seymour-
good-looking black woman in my middle school. It was objectively true.
No, you're a
Listen.
liar. You're a
I'll-
crazy little liar.
What?
I'm my mama's life. To this day, they still ugly. I can pull them up.
listen,
No,
I
you
don't know
fucked for
about
that.
Dream. I don't know about Dream, but Be More know full well. I love me some black women and some black men. Like,
I was about to say, you better say the whole
Power is the
statement.
true equal opportunity employer.
thank you. Like equal.
Are you one of them
opportunity.
bisexuals?
I'm one of them
Yeah,
pan.
you can't
I'm one of
make
them
up your mind.
pansexuals.
You
I'm
so
one of them
damn green.
I'm one of them pansexuals. I walk into the home appliance store at Home Depot and I just lose my mind. Yeah,
Ooh.
I like everyone.
Ooh,
The
okay.
supply of black women was low in my area.
Shut
It was
the
only
fuck
like
No, it wasn't, bro.
You get blinders. You get blinders on.
there was 3 black women in my middle school.
And all 3 of them were bad as fuck.
Hey,
It was
listen.
ugly.
You lied. You were ugly. You were
Yo,
ugly.
you need to listen.
This is
I'm-
devolving
I'm-
too
I'm-
fast.
Yeah, where's that? Where are we going?
Well, we're
Ugly
going with
too.
this.
All I have to
You
say-
know.
I'm
all I
being
have to
completely
say-
honest.
Talking out
I'm
of his
starting
ass.
fires and running away.
All I have
I'm
to
just
say-
what we
instigating
talk-
people.
I don't know
Say,
what
wait a
we
minute,
talking
Dream,
about.
Didn't you say? Eli, did you? Yeah, I'm just starting fights.
Listen,
That's all I'm doing.
all I know
What?
right now.
I had a good question though. I had a good question for Eli.
Okay.
When did you stop becoming a self-hating black man?
Last
Was it at
week.
23?
Yesterday.
Today.
When
You
did I
think he could
stop
put it on a
becoming?
date?
When did I stop becoming? I don't know when that happened. Really, it just kind of happened.
15 minutes ago.
I don't think it can really. I
When
don't-
Joe
can
Biden
you
was
really-
elected.
Can you really put like a set in stone like start point for when like
I
March
can.
12th, 2019.
progress begins? I mean, if anything, you would like, I guess, connect it with like, excuse me, I guess a influential moment in your life, I guess. Like, but
Yo,
but
why
besides
is
that-
Mogwai? Sorry.
But besides that, it's just kind of like you just start learning things, like learning new things, having more experiences. Like a phrase that I like to live my life by is something that one of my professors in college told me, and that was, exposure eliminates bias. It's really funny because that was a course called Issues in Human Diversity. And because of where I was in my life at that time, I really just kind of blew that course off, really didn't take it seriously. And now I'm like, I'm here. I'm at this point in my life where I try my best to stand up for other people. I look at and analyze a lot of issues within human diversity, even though I blew off that class. I blew off that class, but what that professor told me and what he taught me, like it stuck with me, and I took it with me. It was weird because I took it with me through my day to day life from like then on. So I guess it's just one of those times where you just plant the seed in somebody, and then it just eventually grows.
So what
I just
age
wanna
were
make
you
the-
when you
wait, real-
when's the
real quick,
last time you
Jimmy.
asked out a black woman? Like how old were you?
Jimmy, real quick, before you answer that, I just want to say, Mogwai guy, go fuck yourself. Listen, we're doing some deprogramming right now, and you're gonna have to
Right.
sit through
Wow.
this.
Yeah,
Okay.
boy.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yo, thank you.
This is how we
Age?
deprogram people on
I don't
Twitch.
know. I mean, I asked out black women in high school. I asked out black women in college.
So you're like 21, 20,
What'd you say?
22?
What'd you say? Whatd you say?
Damn,
I'll
I mean, look at
I'll
mine.
expose.
I said-
So
Where's the
something I said-
transcript? Apparently,
remember.
Something that
I
I said.
I don't remember. Like the last time that I remember asking anybody. Did I even ask her out?
Look, now he didn't even do it.
No, hold on.
Of
I'm
like-
thinking.
of like
Hold on.
the
Hold on. I'm
I'm
thinking.
just fucking. I'm fucking. You don't have to answer that question. You don't have to answer that
I'm
question.
thinking of my
just fucking with you.
fiance because I'm trying to think
Judge
of-
J. Cook here.
You want to know? You want to know? You want to know the first conversation that me and my fiance had? We were at work, and I saw her in the break room, and I was like, you know what? It's happening. And I walked over and I said, I got like some chicken tenders from the cafeteria.
Oh, good God.
And I walked over and I sat down and I took a bite out of it. And I asked her, I said, you mind if I sit here? She said, yeah. And I took a bite of it and I was like, wow, the chicken's not too gristly today. That was the first sentence to this woman out of my mouth.
So, like, I want to be clear. You asked her if she
First
mind if you sat
sentence.
there, and she said, "Yeah, I do mind if you
Well,
sit."
no.
Do you-
my bad.
do you
She said
eat
no.
this
She
chicken
said
next to
no.
you?
She said no. She did not mind if I sat there. Sorry. And so the first conversation out of my mouth to her was, the chicken's not too gristly today. That was the first conversation. That was the first. One of the first
Grizzly?
sentences.
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
You know how like
Maybe
when you
they
bite into a
did
chicken,
turn them down.
Bruh.
Maybe they did say no.
Chicken
when
hell.
you bite into a piece
See,
of chicken.
wait,
And
don't.
it's like-
This
Some
is the
black women might
This is a conversation he had with her prime. You don't want to. Nah, this is a conversation he had with her prime. You don't want to go down that because, like, you might
said,
fall
did you
in
call
love with him too, and he's already engaged. Like, nah.
You said, did you call
Like, this is the exact conversation.
all
What
it
the fuck
takes.
does gristly mean?
Well,
Hey, man,
it's
this
like
chicken-
how
this
when
chicken
you bite
is
into a piece of chicken that
gristly.
you can't exactly
Waterfall.
like,
Gristly?
you can't exactly like chew, and it's kind of like rubbery, and you're like, what
First
the hell
day
is this? Like it's
Automatic
called
wet.
It's called gristle.
Automatic wet.
Right.
Like,
And then
tell
you
me
grab
about
the
that
towel,
gristle
like,
more.
I
Automatic.
got you.
It was super effective.
The word
Well, yeah,
gristle
no, I
just
guess,
like
like,
sent shivers
Wait,
down my
Wait,
spine.
hold on. It gets
Sure.
worse. It gets worse. Our first date, like she calls it our first date, but I thought we were just, I thought it was just like hanging out. Was us?
Oh, you done
going to
fucked up
see-
already.
Was us going to see the Cats movie, like right after.
That's a horrible.
You took her on like the worst
That 3
first
years
date
ago?
possible.
Bro,
That
you're
don't
waiting to
even-
be Courtney's
this
Yeah,
time
like,
doesn't
we're gonna
sound
judge
right.
this poor guy's life.
fast.
His whole
Oh,
life
Hey,
my
watching
story.
shitty
This is
movies
gonna
can be
happen
fun
now?
sometimes.
Well, we both liked
Chill.
the Cats musical, and I was like, I really want to go see that Cats movie, and she said, I do too, and
Damn, she lying for you already.
originally I was like trying to have my friend Matt like be a wingman for me, kind of like, hey Matt, I really want to see that new Cats movie, and he's like,
2v1? What
and
the
he's
hell
like-
is this?
and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I was like, oh, and then she pipes up like, I want to see that movie too, and I said, want to go tomorrow? And she said, sure, and
Okay, that was 2020. I was thinking, I was like, how long ago was
Oh,
3
this is-
years?
this
But
is fake
2020 was
news.
3 years ago. That's crazy.
So one of the things I
2023.
think is kind of
Yeah.
interesting in that, right, is that
No, it's 2 years actually.
the entire
The chicken gristle.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
the
that,
chicken gristle.
but like
I love telling that story.
we understand that like for like I don't know, this harkens back to an argument that I had with a person who may or may not have been on this panel and made some weird arguments that made us end up on the front page of LSF about my girlfriend, right? And for those of you who don't know, my girlfriend's Pakistani, and we, I guess,
Girlfriend's
in
bad.
the rhetoric that I gave about like my dating preferences, it may have alluded that my girlfriend is a black Pakistani woman. But then when this individual found that our girlfriend's not a black Pakistani woman, things got a little weird. And I guess like the problem that I have with like deprogramming and trying to like understand people's like internal biases, sometimes it's just I don't even, that's why I think it has to be a very personal effort, because like I don't know how I can argue with like someone who is like Umar Johnson adjacent that says something along the lines of like non-black people don't have melanin, and because they don't have melanin they can't connect with a black person because their souls wouldn't be aligned, and then it's impossible to make love with somebody who isn't melanated because high melanation delivers a higher level of consciousness that leads, and that consciousness is passed on to your child.
Did not see this episode. Listen. I didn't see this episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know what the fuck this is.
It's like
The melanin bender.
Like, when was Aang talking about this? Like,
that's when I say it's important to know like how to pick your battles. Know what battle is worth fighting, or what battle could be at the very least entertaining. And then just know, hey, this person, this bitch is crazy. Let me not fuck with them, and then just like move on. Like,
I was tough on you, but really, I'm not. I'm like, it's useless to tell people to unpack their dating preferences. Like, even if I have a thing for girls with 9 fingers, like that's my issue to deal with. And if that's my fetish, if that's how I like to get down, I'm not unpacking that for nobody.
I'm
not
more of an 11
compromising.
myself.
Yeah,
like
but I'm
11.
saying like it literally means nothing, because like dating is one of those places where you're actually supposed to be as discriminatory as possible, like to your own like standards.
But, like,
up to, as long as it's like healthy, you don't want to like
Right,
criticize
like, I
people,
don't
but you're
like-
allowed to like whatever you like.
Like I'm not one of those guys who's like,
Nah, shit could
who's
be
like,
racist
oh,
sometimes.
you know, like I don't necessarily agree with race being a preference 100%. Like I don't agree with
I
that.
do. I love black
Especially-
skin.
or at least-
It's a physical
Or
feature.
at least
It's a
I don't
phenotype.
Like, I don't like the
Skin
idea.
tone, skin tone would be the preference, not race per se.
Yeah. I don't like the idea. What I really don't like is when someone tries to exclude a group of people from, like, I'm not gonna date Asian people, I'm not gonna date black people, I'm not gonna date white people. That's what I have a problem with. And there are a lot. I've run into a lot of black men who will say, "Ain't nothing a black woman can do for me. I don't want no black woman. Black women aren't submissive enough." And ironically enough, and dare I bring up my original platform, I see a lot of that on the Clock app. I see a lot of it, and it's really it's
White
honestly
women are
disgusting.
malleable.
And
Tic Tac, let's go.
Damn.
They don't want to be claimed. It's fine.
True.
right,
I've
and
only
it's like, and it's,
Well,
and it's just,
but then
it's
like, is there something? And this is the pushback a little bit. This is why I'm like talking. This is why I'm like bringing up the idea of talking of audiences. Like Umar Johnson's. I'm just gonna bring up Umar Johnson.
Yeah, like
yeah, like
My head is funny.
you just watched a documentary, didn't you, Joe?
Yeah, maybe Umar Johnson's argument
African
about
prince.
why like black men should date, like why white women shouldn't date black men, is because that takes away ineligible black men from black women. And
I'm not gonna lie to you. My mom literally made that same argument for me in high school and told me that that's why in high school I was only allowed to date black women at one point.
sure, but would you say
And
that
then
that's like
We
Yeah.
added more. Wait,
So the
we
question-
added more to the story here. Like, your mama was like, "Yo, you need to date black women," and then he
With
your anti-black
It
dad.
gets worse.
yeah, like
It
you had an
gets
anti-black dad, and your mom was like, "Date black women at all
It
coast." Like,
gets-
how does that?
It gets
And he rebelled
worse.
against his mother.
My mom said,
well, how is it? Well, I guess the question I'm asking, like, is how do you believe that to be racist? Like, if someone made that argument to you in the wild and said, "I will only date," I don't believe, but I'll just make the claim. I don't believe this, by the way. Don't fuck. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on.
"Hey, at least you get this."
Why-
Pretty sure I made that
Can't say
exact
the
same.
same
Clip it and
I'm
ship
fine.
it. Hey Joe, I'm clipping it right now. So
Can't
hurry,
say the
everybody
same
quiet.
for
I want to
other
clip
people.
this.
Like, white women shouldn't date black men because that takes eligible black men away from black women.
Boom,
Like, is
clip
that
it.
a
So, that's
racist
it.
statement?
I'm pretty sure I
Yes.
said that. I'm pretty sure I made that take on Prime Panel like a week ago.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I like that exact take.
You
Crazy
did?
enough.
I haven't
Talk to Ben, then
forgotten.
talk to me
I haven't
then.
forgotten. We'll do that later, but I haven't
Yeah.
forgotten.
Yeah, I said that. And I stand on it.
I like what Eli said. Like you could have a preference, but not an exclusive. For example, like I have a preference, but I wasn't excluding white women. I just so happened to never date a white woman.
No,
Oh,
that's exclusive.
so happened.
I'm being honest with you.
They just weren't in my vicinity.
Bro,
What
that
the
is like
hell?
the
In
saddest.
California?
That's the saddest. That's the saddest excuse I've ever heard,
No,
bro.
no,
Like
no,
you
no.
trying to
Here's the
date,
thing.
nigga.
Here's
You
the
ain't
thing.
hunting.
Wait, time out.
Let me tell you. Let me explain it. Actually, I have a better explanation, right?
No, because
Better
Jay, you remember
excuse.
this guy
Yes,
saying there's
hold on.
no
I
black
got a
women in
better one.
school?
See,
And now
it
he's
was
saying
these
there's no white women in
aliens.
the school?
It was War of the
Were you in
Worlds. All the
Mexico,
black
motherfucker?
women. It was destroyed. Like
No, listen. I actually didn't. What I'm talking about is I did not find any of the white women that were available to me in my vicinity to be attractive enough for me
You
to
just
date
found
them.
everybody ugly. Get out of here.
There was a lot of people ugly, but
So
I did date some Latinas, like early high school,
my.
but then it wasn't until I was later in high school that I started dating black women, and then college is like almost exclusively black women.
you know how you could
You
have
said
led
you
with
dated those
this.
3 black women that. Oh, bro, your story's so inconsistent. I'm
Bro,
done.
your
It's very
story
consistent.
changing. Bro, first it was
No.
like, yo, I don't date black women because like they was like they just not here. Then there was like
And then
3
now
of
he's like, I was
them.
dating them in
And then
19
now
years.
you dating them. Like, bro, where
Yeah,
these
bro,
black
his
women
story's
coming
consistent
from?
as fuck. And then he
Like,
says,
I live in San Francisco where 3% of the population is black women,
Very consistent.
and
You know, it's not
I went
comeback.
to a majority Asian high school. Like I
Bro,
went to
the
majority
check-
Asian schools, so like
check
I
and
was
clip it
mostly
and
attracted
ship
to
it
Asian
right
girls
now.
growing up.
So,
But it's easy. It's easy. Like growing up, I went to majority Asian schools, so the majority of the women that I liked were Asian, obviously, because it's just, luck of the draw. And it just so happened. It just so happened that the black girls at my school in elementary school and in middle school just weren't that attractive, and it wasn't until like later years.
So in all 3
high
sets
school.
of school, black women were just ugly for
You
you.
even went back to elementary, bro.
in high
You
school,
went to
black
elementary.
women in high
Do
school.
that. You didn't even have to do that, and you did it, bro.
Bro, like, see, this is why we say your story inconsistent. At one level, it's like, yo,
How?
I just there wasn't black women around for me to date, so like, I like the women that was around, but like, I dated.
At least I was honest, and at least my story was like, it was wild.
Bro,
but you
stop
could
trying to
Tell
tell
him,
get-
Eli.
bro,
Get on him.
it was
You're
wild.
real.
Now, we got some questions for Dream.
Stop
Yeah,
trying to
go ahead.
recoup, man. You're not recouping on D10, okay?
Yeah.
You got your own
Listen,
personal isolated hell.
This is the consistency, Pyro. There were black women. I just didn't find them attractive up until later stages of high school. Like sophomore year, I took a black woman out.
You said high school there's only 3 of them. Oh.
No, I said middle school there was only 3 of them. You're
You
not
did say
listening.
that. You did say that.
I said middle school there's 3 of them,
No,
and
this
they weren't
takes
attractive.
back to
Hold
a
on, let me
previous
clean these
panel,
headphones.
and then it's
So,
only
So,
six
but
men.
wait, so like between
It's
middle
not
school
consistent.
and high school, the population of black people in your certain area just grew. It just shot through the roof.
It's senior year, black women just started flying into California.
The answer is yes.
It was the season of the black woman, and they just spawned from the trees like pine cones and
Damn.
fell from the ground like
No.
God.
Hey, Jamali,
No,
you like black people?
didn't.
Do I
Do you love black people?
Do you?
Do you date black people?
I love black people. Okay, I love everybody.
No, shit ass answer.
Well, I just the reason I asked that is
I love
you one of
everybody.
them they thems.
So
And I
He
just
gave
know
you
that
the
like
all
in the
lives
LGBT
matter,
community,
bro.
like I
And
heard
the
there's like a really big issue, like in particular with anti-blackness. That's what my gay friends tell me. And I don't know if you're gay, but I know you're trans. So that's
Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
Are you not dating them? Is that a lie?
What happened?
Are you
There's
not?
a lot-
Are you
lot
not?
going
Are
on.
you not married?
Trans, yes,
Where
I
is
love
the
it.
school bus
What's
going
happening?
now, children? Where is
You're
the
trans,
bus
which is
going
part of the
now?
LGBT community.
Okay.
So I'm saying that I know that like the LGBT community has like a particular issue, even within the black community of the LGBT community of anti-blackness. Like there's a lot of like black people who don't like dating other black gays or trans or with it. So I'm asking you.
I mean, I'm not. I don't really give a fuck about that. That doesn't make any. To me personally, I
I'm
don't.
asking if it impacts you or not.
No, it has not impacted. A lot of things have not impacted me. I've not been impacted because of the color of my skin in any way for my life, despite living in the Bronx. I haven't been impacted in a lot.
Lil Wayne.
So like I don't know.
I've been able to entertain myself that way. Like
So you're not even in the community. You just Jamali. You
I'm
just chilling.
exactly. I'm an amalgamous blob that sits outside of the confines of every single label that people decide to put on each other and themselves. Yes.
Hey man, I like that,
Okay.
brother.
That's pretty based. Yeah, I like that.
Well,
That's all I got. I think I
Okay.
know who. I think
Bruh.
everybody that likes black people now.
okay. So
Nah,
except
I
Eli.
actually do want to expand on this topic, but like I wanted to set as one topic. I would like to have more black women here when I do it. I don't want to leave.
Who can I
Jay
invite?
hanging.
Can I invite one if I find?
Why haven't you invited
I
one
invite
already?
one?
What the
I
fuck?
know.
Bruh.
Like we always
Why does
we
it
do
have to
guests. What do
always
you
be for the
mean?
dating topics? Like,
You know black
You
people
got
and
one
you
in a
just
pocket
not.
and you just haven't
Damn, Jay
decided.
Cook's
Wait,
asking the real
time out.
question.
I just gotta say it now because it needs to be said. If y'all know black people and y'all not inviting them to the panel, what the actual fuck?
You know,
Yeah.
Well, it's not my
I
platform. I
do.
don't want to be
I
rude
do
like Abram.
appreciate.
What do you mean? I keep saying, hey, let me know if you got no more people. Oh bullshit
Okay.
me, Bam. All right, whatever.
Exactly. It's like one. We all know like the all black panels are literally the best panels that Prime has. Two, we know y'all niggas is tired of seeing the same four faces all the same damn time. Like we need
love
some
that.
recommendations,
They
send
might be
some
tired of your bitch
invitations.
ass. Shut
I'm
the
really-
fuck. Speak
Be
for
more. They
yourself.
tired of everyone. They tired of everyone here. They tired of Joe Lewis.
Except me.
They tired of Bam.
Especially
They
Tyler.
tired of Prime.
They don't get tired of
They
me.
tired of everyone.
Pyro, just because your
Speak
DM
for
Hey, I
yourself.
wasn't one of the people
They
named.
ain't tired of me
Listen,
yet.
how could they be tired of me when I'm always at work, nigga? There's the
They
flaw in
ain't
your
tired of me
argument.
yet.
God bless
Listen,
America.
listen.
Be more
just-
wrong once again.
I
They need to send
tried.
your
I
ass back to
know.
work.
Vote for
I know
Biden,
we're not-
okay? Because be more's wrong.
Y'all need
They-
to
I know
build
we're not
back
supposed
better.
to leak.
They-
We
I
build
know
it
we're not
back
supposed to
better
leak
than that.
DMs, right?
Ain't
But
nobody
I did.
tired
I
of
messaged to
me.
Prime. I was like, "Hey, Prime, we have a great Black American who wants to come on the panel, who's asked multiple times, and he said no. He said no. I want to make the record show. He
Who's
said
the
no.
guy?
Who was
Say
it?
the name.
You got a name drop after that.
Redneck.
D10.
Hey!
You didn't have to drop that in the chat. You didn't have
Yo,
to
bring
drop
him
that in
on.
the
Bring him
chat.
on.
Bruh.
Didn't have
Look,
to
look.
drop
Yo.
that in the chat.
Bruh.
Well, I mean,
Listen, I just want to
explained
say.
it.
I just want to
I didn't
say.
have to
You
do
already
anything. I want.
explained it. Like,
I
It's
just want to say.
simple
I
Notice
just
from
want
how
first
I
to
didn't
ninth.
drop
Wait,
a
wait,
damn
wait.
thing
It's
about
simple
my
from
relationship.
first to ninth grade. There weren't good looking enough
Don't
black
read
women
it
for
out
me to
loud.
date. It wasn't until 10th grade where I dabbled in it. Didn't fully date until 12th grade. And of course,
Dabbled?
college, I
You
went to
had to
HBC.
dabble in
You
black women?
dabbling
What
in
do
my
you
black
mean?
women now, bro? You dabbling in them.
I was really
Black women,
attracted to
Pick it
this.
up, put it
spells?
down.
What are you talking about?
Remember,
Dabbling
Eli,
in
you
black
got no room
women.
to
really-
talk on this matter, Eli.
I was
Eli,
really
sit this
attracted
one
to this
down.
girl named Bianca Salazar, but she wasn't.
Eli,
You can't
sideline,
talk on this
sideline.
matter. Like, at least D1 got, like, the fucking diary journal. And on the
Hold
10th
on.
of June,
But
I
at
found my
least-
first black
Eli,
woman
sit this one out.
attractive. It was an experience to begin with. Like,
We'll
you
tell
gotta...
you in if we need you.
Oh
That's funny.
my god.
I think it was simple.
Okay.
It's simple.
This has been weird. I like I said, I do want to expand on this because we had more than one. I mean, Jay Cook is a hell of a woman, but I don't want to put this all on her
I'll speak
shoulders.
for all of us. I'll speak for
Judge
all of
Jay
us.
Cook up in this bitch. Get the theme music.
So-
But
Any which way, to my audience, we will continue on and have a walk on panel right after this. Stick around for that. No need to go anywhere. If you've been enjoying this content, do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Hit that follow button. If you haven't done so yet, make sure notifications are on. So you know I'm going live. We do 6 nights a week. Don't want you to miss out on any of the content that we have for you. So hit that follow button right now. Also, exclamation social and chat for our social media. Okay, we got Twitter where we tweet. We got Discord where we do everything, including the open walk on panel that'll be happening after this. Stick around for that. And we have YouTube. If you missed anything, go to YouTube. That's where you'll find it. Like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining. Hitting that. Becoming a member and hitting that join button and supporting the channel that way. It goes a long way, so consider doing that as well. Okay, but once again, we will continue on with the content. I'm just going to give an outro to all these amazing individuals, and then we'll go from there. So thank you, D10 Dream, for coming through, for being a part of this, right? D10 Dream, tell the world about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm D10 Dream, also known as Hatim. And I love being on this panel. It's my favorite thing to look forward to every week. I'm like, you already know the spiel. But yeah, I love my black woman. This is me and my girlfriend 2 years ago. We're almost on the third year.
Okay.
Shout out to Jade the
Weird.
Gem.
Receipts.
She's in chat. Feel me?
You got receipts. You got receipts.
Feel me,
Shout out to who in chat?
Shout out to Jade the Gem. That's my girlfriend. She's watching you.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
All right.
She's supporting me in here. Thank you. See, she's like, why are we not talking about your current girlfriend? I'm talking about you now, babe. So don't get mad at me. But yeah, I love this panel. This was pretty cool. Love you guys. We had some base takes. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I got nothing else to say.
Hello, Dream's girlfriend. Thank you for letting us borrow him week after week here. Right, very valuable member of this community. Right, so thanks so much, buddy. All right, moving on to Jamal. Jamali, thank you for coming through. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for jumping in. Right, I really appreciate it. I was happy when you said yes because we don't get you here every time. You know, so we gotta value the times you do show up. Jamali Senpai, tell a little about yourself.
Yeah, hi. My name is Jamali of the Senpai kind. I generally stream Monday through Friday on Twitch. I do League of Legends, just chatting, and we were just watching the President's press conference yesterday, so that was pretty boring. But yeah, if you want to watch some cool Star Sector space war selling drugs across different universes and galaxies and stuff while we put on some super dope chill music, that's probably what I'm going to do for the rest of the week until Friday, and then Monday we'll come back and I'll probably just want to hang myself in a video game by playing League of Legends. So
Amen.
thank you guys for being a part of this show and watching this, because this is always good to have more Black people exposed on this shitty fucking platform, and I hope that one day we'll be the majority people on this platform and it still makes just about as much money.
Let's hang ourselves together. I want to play League with
Brittany,
you.
don't listen to him. That's never gonna happen, Brittany. Okay, it's never gonna happen. All right.
Think about little Timmy.
Okay. Wow. Look,
about the
one
white
of,
kids?
one of the most honest shows on Twitch, right? Like saying that, like, yes, he had a boring stream, right? And I, honest to say, I've never had a boring stream ever, right?
Damn.
Again, this is why you should follow the channel. Make sure notifications are on, so you can be part of all my exciting streams. All right, next we got Black
and I work
America.
out on stream too now, so if you want to see me be a musclehead, then that'll be cool.
Okay. Black American Made. Bam. Thanks for coming on, right? Thanks for I don't know. I think I think pharmaceutical companies are happy because I'm consuming heart medication, blood medication, keep my heart rate down because of you specifically, right?
The yin to your yang.
Exactly that.
Well, yeah, since we talking about how much we love Black women, and Dream showed his picture, I brought my Black woman to the table because I
Amen.
love Black women. But no, seriously, super fun panel. Like everything was fun. She got the bonnet on, so we respect Black women in their natural habitats. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Like I said, I'm gonna keep coming. I'm gonna keep giving correct takes. Everyone is smarter thanks to me. Y'all welcome.
Disagree.
Black Lives Matter.
Okay, look, I'm not gonna argue with you in front of your woman. All right.
That's a little
you
bit
in
too
front of your
embarrassing.
girl. All right. So
Wait,
we'll leave it at that.
just so y'all know, out there in the internet, I'm a bad bitch in the daytime. Okay. He caught me after work. I got my pajamas on and my bonnet on, but don't get it twisted.
We not getting twisted.
Heard.
Yes.
Mic drop and walk
Where'd
away.
you go?
Right?
I was about to say, I was
Shut the
muted.
fuck
I was
up,
like,
Joe.
His name is Okay.
No, she called you a bitch.
Oh wow. All right. Well, thanks so much. Seriously. Been nice meeting your lady. Let's next go to Jay Cook, right? America's lady. I don't know what that means. Jay Cook.
Playing fucking Captain America.
Jay Cook, thank you for coming. Thanks for putting up for us, right? Thanks for putting up with these bunch of guys I have here. Like, I wouldn't blame you if you just like walked away from here. Like, I'm dealing with these motherfuckers again, right?
As you
No,
should,
this
don't
is
worry.
fun. This is fun. You guys are all. This was actually coming back because I feel like I've missed a couple of panels, but coming back, this was a nice, chill, respectable stream to come back to. So I appreciate it. My name is Jay Cooksnada. You can follow me on Twitter or on Twitch. I will not be streaming this week, but in the week after next, so the 30th of January on Sunday. We'll be back in the kitchen making something that I don't know yet. Yeah, and I'm single, so if any black men want to slide up in my DMs, you're more than welcome.
Well, there you go.
Only
There-
black men?
Cheesecake.
No, not only black men, but yeah.
I don't know. Okay, all right, Jay, I don't know if that was the best decision to put that online. Hey,
I'm
men,
about to be in your DMs right now. He's sending the message. He's sending the message.
random
Yo,
motherfuckers,
what's up?
hey, jump
I'm
into my
about-
DMs.
I'm
I
about to
can't be,
invite you to
I
the
can't be held
best
responsible for
pan-
what comes in there. All right,
I hope
cannot
it's
be held
somebody
about to
responsible.
be like,
Audience
I'm inviting
members,
you to the
chill the
best
fuck
panel
out,
ever.
please. Thank you, Jay Cook. Thank you so much. Seriously,
I'm Dominican. Does that count?
no, it doesn't. Moving on.
Not today.
Oh,
Not today.
Oh man.
Me no black.
Okay.
It would have counted yesterday.
All right. We got our MVP Joe Lewis, right? Joe Lewis is here, right? Joe Lewis, who isn't dating black at the moment, right? That's just something up and out there. But Joe Lewis doesn't know the race. Joe Lewis, thank you for coming.
That's fucked up.
It's okay. If me and my girlfriend have a child, it's all right. It'll end up on a terrorist watch list, just like
You
all the
make-
black folks.
Bro, you making a mighty big gamble there, Joe. I'm just telling you.
I did.
You placing
Listen,
all
my
your
girlfriend-
eggs in one basket.
Well, my girlfriend really wants some swimmers in her basket. So anyway, yeah.
What are you doing here?
You better
This
get
is
to
fun.
work, bro. You've been here
Listen,
for
she
3
gave me a
hours,
3-year
man.
She gave me a 3-year clock in terms of when I should propose to her and when she wants kids, and we're on year 2. Kind of running out of time.
You a
but you know who-
procrastinator hardcore.
I am a procrastinator, but listen, like, no, having kids is kind of based.
She
you know?
proposed to you, bro. She said, I
She
want to
did?
get married. Here's the time limit. And you just like, cool. I'm going to do that
Joe-
later.
Joe managed to run on CPT.
She proposed to you? That's
No,
base.
she didn't propose to me. She
She
said I had a 3-year
outright
clock.
told
There's a
this
difference.
dude that, like, yo, you got to clock before
He
I
said an
bounce.
ultimatum.
Oh.
She said
She said, you better propose to me? Is that what she said?
Yeah.
That means she want to marry you, dude. Like, that means she want to marry you, bro. I don't know what you waiting for.
Yeah, with my girlfriend. But anyway, I think you guys love content, and you should follow all these people because they're fantastic. Don't worry about me. I'm trying to relearn Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's going pretty well. If that's something you'd like to see, and you want to coach me on the sidelines, and you can follow my channel. I'm trying to do a shift in terms of lighter content for the unforeseeable future. So I'm still going to talk about like other stuff for sure, and still go on panels and stuff like that. But I'm going to take a little. Gonna do some chill time. So help me relearn Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm trying to be the king of games. Okay.
Leaving the heart of the cards. That's how you do it. That's it.
I used to know. I have a stack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards even here. I don't even remember exactly how to play. I'd like to relearn it.
Yu-Gi-Oh stream coming soon.
Well, luckily for you, Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel is free right now on all platforms, and you can download it yourself for free. And
Is
if you
it
have a
crossplay?
PlayStation, there's crossplay too. And if you have a PS4 account, if you have a PS Plus, you can link your account to get 50 packs for free. Come on, Konami, fucking hire me. Jesus Christ.
See, Jay, that's how you advertise. You see, I'm sold.
I would, yeah, I think that's really interesting. As long as you come on here, right, and be dunking on fools, all right, that's all I need. That's all I need from you, buddy. All right, all I want
As
for
long as I
Christmas.
don't go as hard as I did on like Monday, we'll be okay.
Oh boy! All right, oh man, that was crazy. Now that I remember,
A little intense.
okay.
Little intense. I'm sorry, Fabio. I'm sorry. Okay.
Go
Not sorry.
to the YouTube and check it out if you missed it. All right.
Oh,
Next, we have Pyro Tyrant. Look, once again, emerging from the smoke like a wizard. He doesn't disappoint. Pyro Tyrant. Thanks for coming through and be it as like I don't know. You're always ready to jump in and participate. And I actually love that about you. You're a great guy. So thank you for coming through, man.
You know, I have a dream that one day, little black boys, little white girls can all donate a sub to Prime. Because where else are we going to find this content? This was a good fucking panel, right? And that's the kind of modification we need of this holiday if it's going to be Americanized the way we always do shit, right? And that's what I've been saying this entire time. Yo, make black people money. It's our legacy. We deserve this. That's how we should do it. I enjoyed this panel. It was so nice
being back. I'm glad like I had the night off work. It aligned perfectly. The topics were great. All the people were great. Unfortunately, Wiggle's not here, so we can't ban Wiggle. But like
Says who?
this is what happens when we don't have them here, right? This is the type of panel we get. This is the camaraderie we have. I love everybody here. We got into some nice meme shit that like I don't know. Could we have done it on another panel?
First and foremost.
Oh no, drag him.
Foremost.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. So like
Oh,
I'm glad
man.
we got the taste of Ban Wiggle. I hope if y'all subscribe that like we can get the full year subscription of the Ban Wiggle. Thank you for having me, Prime.
Okay, thank you
And
so
fuck
much.
all y'all.
Fuck all you.
Be more. All right. A special kind of guy who comes on and brings the heat when he's here. So always appreciate having him around. Be more. Thanks for being here. Tell a little about yourself.
My name is Vmore. Stop simping for Biden. This panel was magnificent. Why? Some people could say it's because collection of sexy individuals, great questions. I'm gonna boil it down to actually one thing: the fact that Wiggle's not here. It's that simple.
God bless
He's not
America.
here, and everything's mad chill. We kicking it. We're covering all the subjects. But no, I'm not a streamer or nothing. Y'all should go follow Joe. I don't know why Joe's downplaying his streams. They be fire. Y'all should follow him. Y'all should be gifting subs to Prime, obviously. And you should definitely hop into Discord and get in VC. Because what happens is a lot of people in chat get all gassed up, but then they don't show up. So this is your opportunity. Open panels. They're for you. They're for all of us. They're for the people. Okay?
For the
That's all I
people.
got.
I fucking love it. Yeah, they're for the people.
It's not
Yes.
the open panel, it's the people's panel.
It's
That's
the
it.
people's panel. I get it. Oh man, I love it. All right, thank you so much, sis. That was great. And last but absolutely not least, we have Eli Monty. And I am excited. We are blessed that you showed up. We're happy to have you. We're always seriously looking for new people to be joining in and being part of this. And you were a great addition. I'm glad you were here yesterday for that open panel. I'm like, I gotta get this man on, right? And so you didn't disappoint. So thank you so much, Eli, for coming through. And we love to have you here in the future.
Thank
We
you.
survived the smoke.
Thank you. This wasn't nothing compared to other things that I've
figure.
been to. You guys are some chill, cool people. So yeah, my name is not Eli Monty. Yeah, as you guys probably know, I've said it many times. I got my start on TikTok again, reluctantly. I mainly handle progressivism, progressive policy, politics. I am a huge feminist. I talk about that a lot, and I also am looking to streaming on Twitch and YouTube. I mainly play Smite and Monster Hunter. I'm also getting into the Alice series. I'm playing Alice Madness Returns, so sometimes I'll play that on stream. And unlike some of the other people on here, I actually play a real man's game, Magic the Gathering. I am sitting on a card blanket that my lovely fiance got me as a Christmas present this past year of my favorite Magic the Gathering character, Chandra Nalar, and actually my favorite variant of her. I'm also into Gundam models, stuff like that, just general nerd stuff. So please follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Naughty Lai Monty, except for Twitch, where I am still EJ All Sunday. That is my old tag. But I thank Prime for having me on. I thank all of these lovely, beautiful people for making a very nice, not, a very hospitable environment and not a very hostile environment. These were some great vibes. I've really enjoyed it a lot, and I talk too much, and you guys are awesome. Thanks.
You are amazing. Thank you so much. Joe Lewis, I'm gonna let you respond to that.
Huh? It's okay.
Joe, I was just giving
Some
you shit.
people
I used to play.
Listen, I'm just saying Magic the Gathering players. How do I say this? It's not that
We're
every
elitist
single
snobs. We're elitist
Magic the
snobs.
Gathering. No, it's not that every Magic the Gathering player doesn't shower. It's just that everybody who doesn't shower are Magic the Gathering players.
Bro, we say the same thing about Yu-Gi-Oh players. No, but
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Community is disproportionately black. So do you want to deconstruct that for a little bit?
I'm gonna just like, I can do it right now. I'm gonna hit y'all both from the side. Y'all not expecting y'all. Both
Joe,
y'all that
in all
do that
ser-
shit, y'all all don't shower. That's the real key to it.
Joe, in all seriousness,
No,
though,
you're smelling. What you are smelling is the smash room. Okay.
Oh my God,
let's not
true.
talk
Yeah.
about that place.
True.
We not with that. What we smelling?
Yeah.
What we smelling on the smash room? We
Oh
can't
my
talk
God.
about here, bro.
Yo,
I know they started moving the Smash
Fucking
community
hate
over to the
that.
daycare centers to keep it like close to like the target community, but you know.
No,
There was
Joe,
this
in
one
all
dude always playing
seriousness-
Smash in the lobby.
In all seriousness, though, Joe,
Hella sick.
I used to play the hell out of Cosmo way back when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and like
Oh,
every
Lord.
now and then, what'd you say?
Which said, "Oh, keep going, you're good."
No, I was saying I used to play the hell out of Cosmo, and then I started playing the Cinderella deck with the Golden Castle of Stromberg. I played that too for a little bit because nobody ever knew what the hell I was playing, and so I would just snatch games from people because they didn't know what any of the cards did, but I did. They were some fun times. So I'm not shitting on Yu-Gi-Oh players. That was a part of me at one point. I still have my Cosmo deck too.
The part
So
of
I have
us.
one
What game are
final
you playing right now,
question.
Joe?
Oh my
What's that
God.
called? What game are you playing right now, Joe?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Master Duel.
Bet.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
I have one
I
final
play
question
both.
before we leave.
Oh, what? What do you want to say?
Not Eli. Do you think black women didn't date you because you played Magic the Gathering instead of Yu-Gi-Oh? Because all the black women I knew were into Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Thank you. God bless.
Is Jay Cook the only representative?
Not even lying.
Monolithic.
I was actually in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Thank you.
Hey,
That's
Cook,
all
did
up.
you shower?
Here's the thing. I've only during my time of playing both Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, I've only met one black woman in those games, and she played Magic. I have yet to ever meet a black woman that has played Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, congratulations.
He just disrespected
What are you talking
And I
about?
think
Congratulations.
I don't
You
get
just,
it.
you
Why
just,
you gonna make
you
that
just
statement
said it.
after her saying that? You all
Yeah,
type
Jamal,
of
you
shit.
tapped
That's
out.
just Ohio.
He's too far gone.
Now I see your issue. You don't even
In the
see
second
black
place.
women.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
I think it's just Ohio. It is.
You're just gonna have to leave us,
Ohio.
Brian. I
No,
promise.
you
It's
can't
just gonna
save
get more
yourself,
ignorant
bro.
from here.
Hey, listen. I live in Ohio. There's nothing
Tree
out
is
here
off
but
the
racism
scale.
and corn. Okay?
All right.
What?
Bro, that's not even.
What? I missed
That's
that.
not
part.
even.
Okay.
I said
All right.
this is Ohio.
No,
There's nothing
not
out here
even.
but
That
racism
prime
and
industry
corn.
is get
Corn.
us out of here.
Not corn.
Okay. All right. All right. Look, this has been a thing. So thank you all for being here. Oh man, what a fucking long ass exit, right? This was an outro. Holy shit. I was like started a whole new show.
That's
Maybe
the
we
black
should
channel
start
for
a
you.
new show.
I wanted to
We
say
should just have good vibes. I'm willing to have my show and my channel be the conduit for that, where we just come. And have good
Well,
vibes.
good, because we ain't doing good vibes here. We're doing whatever
I was
vibes
gonna say
happen.
quickly. I was a Yu-Gi-Oh player, but I also had a Magic the Gathering. I learned that later on. I had a vampire deck. I love that vampire deck. That was great. But anyway, I'll leave that alone.
Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic. I was on fucking Pokemon.
I got a
Tunes.
Toon deck in Yu-Gi-Oh. Anyway, okay.
Tunes were.
So, we are going to roll into open walk on panel. Actually, yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, despite all this, yes, we're going to roll into open walk on panel. Anyone here can join us, but if not, that's okay. Thanks for spending your time, your energy, your knowledge, and your passion with my community. I know they appreciate it just as much as I do. Have a good one. Bye.
We don't respect y'all.
Peace.
We don't appreciate you.
We don't like y'all. Fuck
We
y'all.
still on
Fuck
y'all
stream.
bitches.
Oh my god, you
Because
guys.
you know we gonna linger, because that's how we do.